And this representation would like to ask that if it is also possible for us to be able to put up a solution commensurate to this potential crisis.
Well, the bill on the floor right now, Mr. President, is an approach that the administration has asked that we act on with urgency, so that our people would feel some kind of relief from the increased prices. So the effect of this bill would be, it was stated earlier during the interpellation of Her Honor Senator Risa, we responded that there would be around an 11 peso decrease in the gasoline prices and around 6 peso increase, 7.72 increase in the diesel prices per liter, Mr. President. So yan yung isa sa mga solutions na pinopropose po ng administration at hinihiling na ipasa natin agad-agad, Mr. President.
This is one of the solutions, Mr. President. There is no issue, there is no debate in that. But as the good Senator Risa also said, meron din siyang corresponding problem na ibibigay sapagkat yung para sa excise tax na ginagamit naman natin to protect our people, meron din corresponding problem na makikreate. Kaya po tinatanong ito kung meron pa tayong mas karapat-dapat na solusyon na maiisip. I'm thinking about supplying or I'm thinking about a measure that will supply our country under the circumstances of enough oil supply. Halimbawa po, Madam President, Mr. President, naisip niyo po bang tawagin natin yung ating JCEC, ito yung Joint Congressional Energy Commission, para po sa ganon mapag-usapan kung paano tayo makakakuha po ng langis sa iba't ibang kaparaanan. For example, Mr. President, I'm thinking about a tank-to-tank transaction. Ito po ay direktang pagkuha ng langis. Halimbawa, hindi na po natin gagaygayin yung Strait of Hormuz sapagkat talaga namang sinara na ng Iran yon. Dalawa pong posibilidad ang pwedeng mangyari, Mr. President. Siguro po, dumirekta tayo dyan sa refinery po ng Petronas. Yung Malaysia, kaibigan po natin yan. At yung isa po, kagaya po ng alam naman natin, ang Russia po nakakakuha direkta sa Rotterdam. Ginagamit po niya yung route diyan sa pagitan ng Korea at saka ng Japan, at siya po ay lalabas do sa Arctic Sea. Makakarating siya sa Rotterdam gamit po yung mga tanker, sariling tanker. Iyon po sana yung iniisip natin na ibang paraan, hindi lamang po yung excise tax. Alam ko pong makakatulong ng konti, ngunit sa aking palagay, isang palliative lamang po ito eh. Makakatulong po, bakit hindi? Ngunit, meron din siyang isang problemang kikikreate. Kasi pag inalis natin ang excise tax, yun pong tinatapatan naman na tulong nito para sa ating mga kababayan, nawawala din. So parang na-offset lang. So ang iniisip ko po, Mr. President, sana po kung makatawag tayo ng, makunbin po rinyo ang JCEC, may patawag po natin ang mga kababayan nating mga supplier ng langis para mapag-usapan po yung mas malaki at malawak pong pamamaraan kung paano po natin magagawa ng paraan ang problemang ito.
Mr. President, maganda ho yung mga suggestion ninyo. I'm sure nakikinig din ho ang executive sa atin based dun sa hearing namin and mga discussions we've had on the side. Talagang marami silang ine-explore na possibilities po with different countries, different routes. They're doing that, Mr. President. At kung ano naman maitutulong ng Congress, both the Senate and the House, open naman po talaga tayo dyan for the suggestions so that collectively we can find solutions, Mr. President.
Yun nga po, Mr. President, kung makunbin po ninyo yung Joint Congressional Energy Commission. Napakalaki pong step ito dahil mapapatawag po natin ang mga oil companies, yung kanila pong mga ginagamit na mga kaparaanan, iba't ibang kaparaanan, upang sa ganon ay maayos po natin ang namumuong problema ang kinakaharap ng ating bansa. Kahapon po, Mr. President, may kukwento ko po na nandun po ako sa South Korea. Alam po ninyo, sa aking pagtatanong, naapektuhan din sila pero isang araw lang. They were able to adjust doon sa circumstansya po. Kaya ang dali po nilang ayusin ang kanilang problema. Hindi ko po nakuha masyado ang detalye dahil nagmadali po ako para makauwi ako sa araw na ito. Ngunit isang araw lang po ang itinagal. At sila po ay nakagawa kagad ng mga kaparaanan para maitama po nila, may adjust po nila yung pangangailangan nila sang-ayon po sa nagaganap na development sa Middle East. Yun po sana yung aking gustong malaman, Mr. President, Your Honor, kung nakahanda po kayong tawagin natin ng JCEC sa lalong madaling panahon, makapulong po natin silang lahat. Para sa ganon ay makita po natin yung pinaka-ultimong kaparaanan. Maring hindi po masyadong ideal, ngunit makatutulong po, hindi lamang po sa pagsuspende ng kabayaran ng excise tax. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Noted po yung suggestion ng ating kasamahan and we will coordinate with the House Energy Chairman to look into this possibility. Thank you. That's it.
Majority Leader.
Mr. President, there are no other members who listed to interpolate the measure. I move to close the period of interpolation, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, period of interpolation is closed.
Mr. President, I move that we open the period of amendments.
Period of amendments open. Senator Pia Cayetano is recognized to continue.
Maybe,
Senator Bamakino?
yeah, there's a request from some colleagues that they're preparing the amendments, Mr. President. I move to suspend temporarily consideration and go back to it at a later hour, Mr.
All right.
Suspend consideration muna, Mr. President.
Suspend consideration in the meantime.
Yes, sir. While they're preparing the amendments.
Consideration is suspended.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Alan,
On the way na.
207 pala. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of Senate Bill number 1432 under Committee Report number 5. So moved, Mr. President. This is the
1432.
bill on freedom of information.
Yes. Any objection? Hearing none, consideration of 1432 is in order.
Thank you, Mr. President. We are on the period of amendments, Mr. President. So I move that we open the period of amendments to recognize the sponsor, Senator Robin Hood Padilla, and the others who would like to propose amendments, Mr. President.
I'm sorry again, what
We're-
is the
status is
parliamentary status?
We're in the period of amendments, Mr. President.
Period of amendments,
Yes.
all right. And we recognize Senator Robin Padilla
Yes, Mr.
to
President.
introduce the amendments.
And I believe also Senator Kiko Pangilinan will also like to.
And Senator Francis Pangilinan to introduce the amendments, but, yes, we may suspend for a few minutes
Yes,
to call on
session
them.
suspended, Mr.
In the meantime, just for the record, we are going to tackle the clean copy as of the 16th of March,
Yes, sir.
2026,
Yes, sir.
all right?
That's correct.
Okay. So meantime,
May amendment ka ready? Siya lang.
session suspended, Majority Leader?
Yes, Mr. President.
Session suspended.
May we recognize the
So-
sponsor, Mr. President, Senator Robin
Yes,
Padilla?
the sponsor for 1432, Senator Robin Padilla is recognized. We are in the period of amendments. The amendments are going to be proposed as of the 16th of March, 2026, clean copy. Senator Francis Pangilinan is recognized to continue.
Mabilis na to. After this.
Yes, Mr. President, would the good sponsor be willing to accommodate a number of amendments to this measure?
Ginoong Pangulo, opo, isa pong kaligayahan ng aming komite na tanggapin po ang mga amendment ng ating mahal na kaibigan, Senator Francis Pangilinan.
Maraming salamat. We proceed to page 10, line 5, mandatory disclosure of information. The proviso of Section 8 on the mandatory disclosure of information be revised as follows. This is line 5.
Page 10, line 5.
This is the one, page 10? Provided, between the words "that" and "sensitive," insert the phrase "the following." So move, Mr. President.
What does the sponsor say?
I accept, Mr. President.
Accepted. Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Mr. President, to continue, then delete the phrase "such as" after the acronym SALN and replace with the following phrase: shall be redacted to protect the dignity, safety, and security of the public officer.
What does the sponsor say?
I accept, Mr. President.
Accepted. Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just for the record, the amendment shall read as follows. Shall now read as follows: provided that the following sensitive information contained in the SALN shall be redacted to protect the dignity, safety, and security of the public officer. Mr. President, just for the record. Mr. President, on page 10, same page, line 10,
Page 10, line 10.
item 4 of section 8, after the word co-declarant, delete the following phrase, which we transferred earlier, Mr. President, to the proviso clause, redacted to protect the dignity and safety and security of the public officer. Therefore, item 4 as revised will now read as follows. Item 4, government issued ID numbers of the declarant and co-declarant. So move, Mr. President.
And continuing the sentence
Yes, Mr. President.
thereafter. What does the sponsor say?
Accepted, Mr.
Any
President.
objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. On page 10, line 14, section 8B. After the word upload, insert the phrase in a dedicated transparency portal or online dashboard, Mr. President.
What does the sponsor say?
I accept, Mr. President.
Accepted. Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
And for the record, it shall now read as follows. All agencies of all branches of government shall upload in a dedicated transparency portal or online dashboard on their websites, which shall be updated monthly, a register of the following public interest transactions, documents, or records, including, Mr. President, just for the record.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. President. We now proceed to page 13, line 21.
Page 13, line 21.
Yes, Mr. President.
Yes.
The last paragraph of section 9, before the word upload,
Before.
yes, before the word upload, add the word fully. And after upload, insert the phrase in transparency portal or in a digital dashboard on the agency's website, Mr. President. Furthermore,
You will be deleting in full.
Yes, delete the phrase "in full" after the word "upload," Mr. President. If I may, Mr. President, it shall therefore read, all government agencies shall build the capacity and practice to fully upload in the transparency portal or in a digital dashboard on the agency's website all other contracts, agreements, or treaties covered under this section, in particular those that are of the highest public interest by reason of the amounts involved and the impact of the transaction to the public. So move, Mr. President.
What does the sponsor say?
I accept, Mr. President.
Accepted. Any objection? Hearing none, adopted, subject to style.
Thank you, Mr. President. We now proceed to page 15, line 17.
Page 15, line
17, section 11K, delete the phrase website and bulletin boards
website and bulletin boards.
and replace it with transparency portal or online dashboard on the agency's website. And therefore, if I may, the paragraph as amended will now read as follows.
Letter K.
Letter K, such other information taking into consideration the unique characteristics of an agency will help facilitate the effective implementation of this act. The foregoing information shall also be posted on its transparency portal or online dashboard on the agency's website and shall be regularly updated. Mr. President. So
What does the sponsor say?
I accept, Mr. President.
Accepted. Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. May we also, if the good sponsor is willing, an omnibus motion that may we request that the phrase transparency portal or online dashboard be inserted in sections that mention the website of agencies, Mr. President. Omnibus motion, Mr. President.
What does the sponsor
subject to
say?
style.
I accept, Mr. President.
Accepted. Any objection? Hearing none, adopted, subject to style.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the establishment of a real tracking system, this is on page 17, line 4.
17,
Line 4.
line 4.
After the phrase establish a, insert the phrase real-time tracking. The paragraph, therefore, as amended, will now read as follows. Each government agency shall establish a real-time tracking system to trace the status of all requests for information received by it. So move, Mr. President.
What does the sponsor say?
I accept, Mr. President.
Accepted. Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the designation or establishment of a dedicated bureau, division, or unit in the DICT.
What page is that?
Page 24, line 13. Page
24,
line
line 13.
13. At the end of the first paragraph, Mr. President, we insert the following.
After the word act.
Yes,
After
Mr.
the word
President.
All right, proceed.
After the word act, we insert the following. The DICT shall designate or establish a dedicated bureau, office, division, or unit to oversee and monitor compliance with the website, transparency portal, online dashboard, and other information technology requirements under this act. The Secretary of Information and Communications Technology shall ensure the organization, staffing, and operational readiness of such bureau, office, division, or unit, subject to existing laws, rules, and regulations. The DICT shall request the creation of such plantilla positions as may be necessary to carry out its functions under this act. So move, Mr. President.
What does the sponsor say?
I accept, Mr. President.
Accepted. Hearing no objection, adopted, subject to style, plus the periods and the commas. All right?
Thank you, Mr. President. We now proceed to page 26, line 11, Administrative Offenses and Penalties. Page 26, line
Page
11.
26, line 11.
Section 21A, A5 on the Administrative Offenses and Penalties. After the word website, insert the phrase pursuant to Section 8B. Therefore, Section 21A5 as amended will read as follows. Failure to upload Number 5, failure to upload information required to be posted on an agency's website pursuant to Section 8B within the period provided under Section 19, provided that the head of agency or any other officer or employee tasked to perform said uploading shall be held liable. Mr. President.
What does the sponsor say?
I accept, Mr. President.
Accepted. Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Mr. President, we have no further proposed amendments. We'd like to thank the sponsor of the measure for accommodating our amendments. We will now end our proposed amendments, Mr. President.
All right, thank
Mr.
you.
President, nagpapasalamat po ako kay Senator Francis Pangilinan sa napakaganda pong amendment. Mabuhay po.
Thank you. That is how we perfect the bills, you know, when we have the inputs of all the members of the Senate. Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, with that, I move to close the period of amendments.
Any objection? Hearing none, period of amendments on 1432 is closed.
And Mr. President, just for the information of everyone, we've only passed this once in plenary as well. This was in the 17th Congress. I believe you were also, I was Majority Floor Leader, you were Senate President, and then we had difficulty passing it again thereafter. So this is also record-breaking that we will pass it here once again in the Senate. Hanggang Senado lang po, hindi na umabot sa, hopefully our colleagues in the House will take it up again. And therefore, I am honored on behalf of the sponsors and author to move for its second reading approval, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. Senate Bill 1432 is approved on second reading.
Congratulations po to Senator Robin Hood Padilla.
Thank you.
Sir, congratulations po. Congratulations po sa kanya. Napakasipag po niya. At,
And to the authors, of course.
and to the authors. Marami po tayong authors na to. At ito po ay LEDAC measure. So
Yes, yes.
the Secretariat can mention that we already approved on second reading another LEDAC measure, Mr.
All right.
President. Priority measure. With that, I move to suspend consideration for third reading.
Consideration of 1432 is suspended.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we,
Are we ready with the amendments of, not yet?
Not yet. May I ask for minute suspension, Mr. President?
Why don't we suspend for 1 Senate minute?
Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of proposed Senate Resolution number 307, Mr. President.
307?
Yes, Mr. President.
Okay, any objection? Hearing none, consideration is in order. Amendment ko.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I believe that we're now in the period of amendments, committee amendments.
Yes, the chair yields to the President Pro Tem.
Thank you.
Mauna individual or
Recognize, Mr. President, our distinguished Minority Floor Leader to sponsor the measure, and our Senate President, Vicente Soto III, to propose amendments. But I believe he has a committee amendment, Mr. President, or his personal amendment.
The Minority Leader, Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, is recognized.
Sir President,
And to introduce his amendments, the Senate President.
before that, Mr. President, isang committee amendment lang po.
Sige.
So as discussed with Senator Lacson, our Senate President Pro Temp, in the last last week when we brought this up, the intention of everyone is to make sure of due process, to make sure our Constitution is followed. And good Senate President Pro Temp brought up the fact that if you search the word extraordinary rendition, may negative connotation. So in that respect, I'd like to propose that instead of extraordinary, we use extrajudicial. So the title will read, Resolution Expressing the Sense of the Senate of the Philippines to protect all Filipinos against extrajudicial rendition and guarantee them a reasonable time prior to their surrender by or extradition from the Philippines to seek redress from the courts and avail of legal remedies. In the same manner, Mr. President, if it could be a omnibus amendment, on page 2, lines 33 and 39, after comma, following the word whereas, delete the entire clause and replace with the following. The enforcement of arrest warrant issued by the International Criminal Court against former President Duterte and his subsequent surrender. We'll deal with that later, Mr. President, because we might delete the whole paragraph altogether. So just the title, Mr. President, instead of... yeah.
In that case, if I may suggest, Mr. President, that the distinguished gentleman, the Minority Leader, amend the
Title.
the resolutory portion.
Yes.
That is where it is contained, so that later we can go to the title. No? But what you were mentioning on...
Yes. Tama, Mr. President. So in the same manner, just change the word extraordinary to extrajudicial rendition.
All right.
So just the title and resolutory
Move.
at this point in time. Majority Leader, will you move or will I move?
Yes.
For the amendment?
Yes, Mr.
May I
President.
move
The
for the...
resolutory portion muna.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. President. So move on the amendment.
An objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Okay, now, Mr. President, if you don't mind.
Yes, Mr. President.
I have no problem at all with the resolution. I fully support it. As a matter of fact, I am glad that you have changed a word or two in the resolutory portion and then hopefully later on in the title. My issue, if you don't mind, my esteemed Minority Leader, through you, of course, Mr. President, is 2 or 3 lines in the whereases.
Yes, Mr. President.
So that I was hoping that we could somehow temper 1 or 2 lines there that might be, in consonance with the Republic Act 9851. So in page 2, line 33, the entire whereas, and I don't understand you were thinking of doing that yourself later on, no? But if I may propose
Yes,
now,
Mr.
so
President.
the entire whereas,
33 to 39.
replace it with the following. And I think this will be in consonance with Republic Act 9851. I need not explain it anymore, Mr. President. So replace it with, whereas in 2025, a warrant of arrest issued by the International Criminal Court, ICC, in parentheses, were implemented to apprehend former President Rodrigo Duterte. If you will accept, Mr. President.
So with that line and then go to the next already.
Yes,
whereas.
and go to the next whereas.
I think that's fair, Mr. President, and fair and clear. Anyway, Mr. President, everyone has a stand on this issue at nasa Supreme Court naman. So I think just stating it factually the way the Senate President did, I think would be clear to everyone.
Yes, I hope so. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you if you're accepting, Mr. President.
An objection?
No objection.
Hearing none. Amendments, the proposed amendments
All right.
approved.
And two more, if you don't mind, Mr. President. For page 3, line 1 to 5, replace, remove lines 1 to 5 and replace it with, whereas Article 59, paragraph 2 of the Rome Statute states that a person arrested shall be brought promptly before the competent judicial authority in the custodial state, which shall determine in accordance with the law of that state. Of course, meaning the Philippines.
Agree, Mr. President, because it's logical with the former amendment in the former whereas clause. So I accept and agree.
An objection? Hearing none. Approved.
And finally, Mr. President, still on page 3, a proposal to, I believe it does not really align with the subject of what we want in the resolution. So may I move that we remove lines 11 to 17, Mr. President? Remove the entire whereas, and that's it.
Because it may be redundant.
Yes, because we already said so in the lines 1 to 5 of page 3. That,
Well, Mr.
we
President,
should-
considering that my sponsorship speech mentioned this, and I just wanted it on the record that this resolution will be for everyone, no, including cabinet members or insurgents or military men that can be charged in the future for acts during the time we were under the Rome Statute. There'll be no harm to the resolution if we remove line 11 to
particular.
line 17. So I'll accept the amendment, Mr. President.
Thank you, Your Honor.
An objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Thank you. I have no more amendments, Mr. President. I would be honored if the minority leader will make me a co-author of the resolution.
Mr. President, you are a principal sponsor also of this, as we agreed last time. But just to make sure that the title and the resolutory clause is aligned, Mr. President, will also change the title to extrajudicial rendition rather than, instead of extraordinary rendition, we will use the word extrajudicial.
Extrajudicial, yes.
That has been
I
approved
move if there's no
earlier.
objection.
Yes, sir. We're now amending the title after the resolutory portion that was amended earlier.
Okay. An objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Majority Leader, if there are no more amendments,
Session
Humbly-
suspended for 30
Thank you.
seconds.
Thank you, Mr. President. No, sir.
humbly ask that we pass the resolution.
Yes, Mr. President. We're just, I believe it'll just be a transfer of...
tapos na ba?
Okay. Yes, Mr. President, with that, I move that we adopt proposed Senate Resolution number 307.
Subject to style.
Subject to style,
Yeah.
Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, Senate Resolution 307 is now adopted.
Mr. President,
Hindi, meron
there are a few members who would like to just explain how their vote is to be counted. So we don't need to have a nominal vote. We just ask that those who want to vote abstention or are not in favor, maybe they can just raise their hands, Mr. President. Manifest.
Senator Risa Ontiveros is recognized, and after
Yes,
Senator
Senator Risa,
Ontiveros,
Ontiveros
Senator Pangilinan.
wants to take the floor.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Mr. President, I rise to explain my no vote to PSR number 307.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. This measure is framed as a defense of sovereignty and due process. Those are values I uphold. But sovereignty does not mean insulation from obligations we freely assumed under international law. And due process does not mean immunity from accountability, especially for such grave charges. Sa totoo lang po, nakakalito ang resolution dahil lahok-lahok ang mga legal concepts. Extraordinary rendition o extrajudicial rendition na synonymous sa isa't isa at talaga naman bawal. Extradition na may kanya-kanyang governing treaty. At ang totoong pinapatungkulan ng resolution na ito, which is a surrender to the ICC, following Section 17 of Republic Act 9851. Sabi ng resolution, two options daw ang nasa RA 9851, extradition o surrender. Pero hindi po extradition ang tamang proseso dahil according to international law at sa rules on extradition proceedings ng Korte Suprema, extradition is a formal, treaty-based process in which one state surrenders an accused or convicted person to another state to stand trial or serve a sentence. The ICC is not a state, so extradition could not have been an option. Hindi po namili ng mas mapangahas na option ng executive. Namili po siya ng angkop na option dahil extradition is an incorrect remedy. Precision matters, Mr. President. When we mislabel a legal process, we distort the constitutional analysis that follows. Our own Constitution incorporates generally accepted principles of international law as part of the law of the land. The fight against impunity for crimes against humanity reflects a long-settled principle. Individuals may be held criminally responsible under international law for the gravest offenses known to humankind. Ang prinsipyong ito ay hindi lihis sa ating constitutional system. Ito ay nakapalaob nito. Ito ay nagpapayaman nito. Secondly, due process is not confined to a Philippine courtroom. Surrender to the ICC is not a deprivation of due process. It is the means by which due process is realized. The ICC provides for principles which ensure fair proceedings and ample opportunity to be heard. These include the right to counsel, the presumption of innocence, the ability to challenge jurisdiction, the ability to raise defenses, the ability to say that one is not fit to stand trial. Lahat nga po ito ay inavail ng dating Pangulong Duterte. The constitutional guarantee is due process, not exclusive domestic venue. Thirdly, while couched in general terms, this resolution arises from specific circumstances involving the former president. The rule of law requires that accountability mechanisms apply equally, regardless of rank. Ginawa po ang ICC para magkaroon ng espasyo ang mga biktima na hindi makakuha ng hustisya dahil estado ang kalaban, dahil makapangyarihan ang kalaban. They deserve due process too. I agree with the first sentence of the second to the last clause of the resolution. One person who was denied due process is one too many. Tama po. Ang hindi po binigyan ng pagkakataong magsalita, ipagtanggol ang sarili, humarap sa korte, magbigay ng kanilang panig at kumprontahin ang kanilang mga taga-usig ay tunay ngang kalunos-lunos. Noong mga taong 2016 to 2022, libo-libo po sila. I stand with them. I vote no to PSR number 307. Salamat po, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. May we recognize
Senator Francis Pangilinan is recognized.
Maraming salamat, Ginoong Pangulo. Nais ko pong ipaliwanag ang aking no vote sa Senate Resolution 307. Noong panahon ng mga sponsorship speeches ng nasabing resolusyon, pinakinggan ko po ang ating mga kasamahan. Maraming mga legal na argumento ang isinusulong ng mga kasamahan po natin, tulad ng right to due process, ang issue ng national sovereignty, ng primacy ng local court systems natin sa International Criminal Court. Ang kapansin-pansin nga lang na sa lahat ng mga sponsorship speeches, walang nabanggit sa usaping hustisya para sa mga biktima ng extrajudicial killings. Mga libong namatay o pinatay sa Oplan double barrel ng nakaraang administrasyon. Noong nakaraang Oktubre, tinalakay ng Senado ang Resolution 144 na hiniling sa Senado sa ICC ang house arrest para sa dating Pangulo. Bumoto akong kontra sa nasabing resolusyon dahil sa aking paniwala na mas matimbang ang daing ng mga pamilya ng mga biktima ng extrajudicial killings na napatay o pinatay sa madugong drug war. Mas matimbang sa aking palagay ang isinisigaw na katarungan. Sa aking paniwala noon na tila ba nabaon sa limot at hindi nangyari ang nasabing pagpatay ng libo-libo nating mga kababayan. Karamihan mahihirap. Naalala ko tuloy ang sinabi mismo ng dating Secretary of Justice nung kapanahonang siya ay nakaupo bilang Secretary at ngayon Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Remulla noong June 2025. And I quote, "Everything that could be erased was erased so that cases would not push through." Nung imbestigahan ng DOJ ang mga kasong pagpatay sa nasabing drug war. Bagamat ang paniwala ko bilang abogado na may maliwanag na basihan ang extraordinary o extrajudicial rendition, totoo, may mga question nga dito. Due process, legalidad nga ng nasabing extraordinary rendition. Totoo din na sa mga questioning usapin ng soberenya at sa kapangyarihan ng ating mga korte ang pagpasya sa mga posibleng na aresto ng ICC warrants. Ang totoo, may kaso sa Korte Suprema na nakabinbin. May petisyon sa Korte Suprema tungkol sa mga isyong ito. Ngunit wag sana nating isantabi na ang resolusyon na ito ay may kinalaman din sa katotohanan, dapat may kinalaman din sa katotohanan at pananagutan na siyang isinisigaw ng mga pamilya ng biktima ng extrajudicial killings. Usapin din ito ng hustisya para sa kanila. Ang napakapait na katotohanan din ay habang dinedebate sa resolusyon na ito tungkol sa due process at kapangyarihan ng ating mga lokal na korte na magpasya tungkol sa mga maaring maaresto sa bisa ng mga warrant ng ICC. Yung libo-libong pinatay sa ngalan ng Oplan double barrel na iyan ang paratang sa ICC case ngayon, yung libo-libo na yun ay hindi nabigyan ng due process. Hindi na sila pinaabot sa korte, kundi diretso sila sa morgue. Bilang chairman ng Committee on Justice and Human Rights, ang boto ko ay para sa hustisya. Ang boto ko ay para sa mga naging biktima ng pag-abuso sa karapatang pantao. Ang boto ko ay no. Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Moving forward, Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of Senate Bill number 1982 under Committee Report number 48. I so move, Mr. President. This is the
1982.
excise tax measure.
Yes. Any objection? Hearing none, consideration is back in order.
Thank you, Mr. President. The status is we're in the period of amendment. May we recognize our distinguished colleague, Senator Pia Cayetano, for her proposed amendments, Mr. President.
Senator Pia Cayetano is recognized. Parliamentary status is parliamentary, period of amendments, huh? Right.
I will entertain him. So after line 17. Is, ano ba to? Individual?
Yes, you're recognized.
Yes, Mr. President, we're ready to propose our amendments.
You may proceed.
Thank you. On page 3, line 13, after
Page
the...
3.
Page 3, line 13.
So I take it there are no amendments on 1 and 2, page 1 and 2?
There are none, Mr. President.
All right, page 3.
On page 3, line 13, after the word basis, add the phrase "and policy goals," which shall, so the line will now read as follows: the factual basis and policy goals for the suspension or reduction of excise taxes. I submit, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Mr. President, that was an amendment of Senator Risa, and the following amendments are also from Senator Risa. On the same page, line 15, after the word revenues, add the phrase including affected social benefits for different household deciles. We submit, Mr. President.
After the semicolon or before the semicolon?
After the word revenues,
Yes,
line
and then,
15, after the word revenue, so before the semicolon, Mr. President.
all right. Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you. On the same page, line 16, after the word inflation, before the comma, delete comma and add the word "and," and then still on the same page and line number, after the word fuel price, after the words fuel prices, insert the phrase a cost-benefit analysis, an assessment of possible market distortions, leakages, or unintended consequences arising from the suspension or reduction of excise taxes. So the line will read as follows: the expected impact on inflation and fuel prices, a cost-benefit analysis, an assessment of possible market distortions, leakages, or unintended consequences arising from the suspension or reduction of excise taxes and other economic activity. We submit, Mr. President.
All right. Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
On the same page, after line 17, insert the following paragraphs. From Senator Ontiveros, the report shall include a recommendation on whether the suspension or reduction of excise taxes should be maintained, modified, or lifted and shall form part of the basis for any continued suspension or reduction. We submit, Mr. President.
All right. Any objections? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Immediately following that new paragraph that was just adopted, an amendment from Senator Gatchalian. During the suspension or reduction of excise tax under this section,
This is a different paragraph, huh?
yes, Mr. President,
Go ahead, proceed.
a new paragraph to follow the paragraph that was just inserted. During the suspension or reduction of excise tax under this section, oil companies shall submit to the Department of Energy monthly information pertaining to the cost components of the price of petroleum products sold, provided that the Department of Energy shall submit such monthly information to the DBCC and the Congress, provided further that the Bureau of Internal Revenue and the Bureau of Customs shall likewise submit to Congress monthly information pertaining to the declared value and volume of petroleum products whose excise tax has been suspended or reduced by the President pursuant to this section as used for the imposition of value-added tax under this Act. We submit, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Finally, Mr. President, on the title, this is an amendment from Senator Ping Lacson. For the title, replace the phrase allowing the automatic suspension or reduction of with authorizing the President to suspend or reduce. The new title shall now read as follows: An act authorizing the President to suspend or reduce excise tax on petroleum products, amending for the purpose Article 148 of the National Internal Revenue Code as amended. We submit, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
There are no other amendments, Mr. President.
The Majority Leader.
Mr. President, with that, I move to close the period of amendments.
Any objection? Hearing none, period of amendments closed.
Thank you, Mr. President. With that, I move to approve on second reading Senate Bill number 1982 under Committee Report number 48. I so move, Mr.
Any
President.
objection? Hearing none, Senate Bill 1982 is approved on second reading.
Congratulations, Mr. President. This being a certified measure, we'd like to ask the Secretary to read the certification. Yes. Okay. Okay, I move for reference, additional reference of business, Mr. President.
Additional reference of business, all right. Before that, just for the record, on PS Resolution 307, Senator Bamakino is manifesting a negative vote.
Yes, Mr. President.
Thank you. You may proceed now with the additional reference of business.
Additional reference of business. Message of the President of the Philippines. Letter of His Excellency President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. certifying to the necessity of the immediate enactment of Senate Bill number 1982 titled An Act allowing the automatic suspension or reduction of excise tax on petroleum products, amending for the purpose Article 148 of the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997 as amended,
Ito na.
pursuant to the provisions of Article 6, Section 26 of the 1987 Constitution.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
Message from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 16 March 2026 it passed House Bill number 8469 titled An Act amending Section 5 of Republic Act number 9367, otherwise known as the Biofuels Act of 2006, in which it requests the concurrence of the Senate.
Referred to the Committee on Energy.
Bills on first reading. Senate Bill number 1986, an act appropriating the sum of 52,800,000,000 pesos as supplemental appropriations for fiscal year 2026 for the purpose of funding fiscal protections for vulnerable sectors to prevent long-term economic contraction during the 2026 Middle East crisis and for other purposes by Senator Hontiveros.
Referred to Committee on Rules.
1987, an act strengthening the patient billing transparency by requiring a uniform and itemized statement of hospital charges, amending Section 18 of Republic number 11223, otherwise known as the Universal Healthcare Act, and for other purposes by Senator Tulfo E.
To the Committee on Health.
Committee report number 50, prepared and submitted jointly by the Committees on Tourism, Social Justice, Welfare and Rural Development, and Finance on Senate Bill number 1988 with Senators Villar C., Tulfo E., and Ejercito as authors thereof, titled An Act Mandating Accessibility, Inclusivity in all tourism sites for persons with disabilities and senior citizens and appropriating funds therefore. Recommending its approval in substitution of Senate Bills number 330 and 1830.
To the calendar for ordinary business.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Majority
President.
Leader.
Yes, Mr. President, my apologies. We were not able to suspend consideration of the excise tax before we took up the additional reference of business. But we don't need to withdraw it because we need to go back to our excise tax again.
Yes.
I move, Mr. President, that we ask the Secretary to read the title or the certification coming from the palace that it is a certified measure, and then you can already, I move, Mr. President, we can already take up third reading vote after the
Yes,
certification.
the Secretary will read the consideration of 1982 is back to order, and the Secretary is directed to read the letter from the President.
Senator Vicente C. Soto III, Senate President, Senate of the Philippines, Pasay City. Mr. Senate President, pursuant to the provisions of Article 6, Section 26 of the 1987 Constitution, I hereby certify to the necessity of the immediate enactment of Senate Bill number 1982 entitled An Act Allowing the Automatic Suspension or Production of Excise Tax on Petroleum Products, amending for the purpose Article 148 of National Internal Revenue Code of 1997 as amended, to follow the government to respond promptly to extraordinary fuel price volatility and stabilize domestic fuel prices during the period of severe economic disruptions. Best regards, very truly yours, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.
Yes,
Yes, Mr. President, with that, I move that we approve on third reading the said measure, Mr. President, and
Senate Bill 1982.
1982, and ask the Secretary to read, to go for a nominal vote, Mr.
The
President.
Secretary is tasked to read the title of the approved version of the Senate.
An Act Allowing the Automatic Suspension or Reduction of Excise Tax. Yung approve.
Asan yung title? Ay, nag-amend ka tayo ng
Amend tayo ng
title.
title.
It's now titled An Act Authorizing the Suspension,
Copy nung amended.
authorizing the President to suspend or reduce, etc., etc.
An Act authorizing the President to suspend or reduce the excise tax on petroleum products, amending for the purpose Article 148 of National Internal Revenue Code of 1997 as amended. Roll call of members. Senator
Yes.
Aquino, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Hontiveros, Senator Lacson, Senator Lapid, Senator Ligarda, Senator Marcoleta, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Tulfo Erwin, Senator Tulfo Rafi, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Camil, Senator Villar Mark, Senator Subiri, Senate President Soto III.
Yes. 17 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention. Senate Bill 1982 is approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. President,
You
just a very short
You just
manifest.
announced the number of.
Oh, it was already announced.
I announced that?
Yes.
You announced
Yes.
already, Mr. President?
Yes,
When-
yes.
Okay, my apologies.
Mr. President, just a very...
Senator Joel Villanueva.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr.
recognized.
President. Just a quick manifestation of support this particular measure that this representation filed. Mr. President, may I just be allowed to just insert into the records my explanation of vote? Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Yes, so manifested, so inserted.
Also, Senator Lito Lapid would like to insert, ayaw mo basahin, sir. Insert into the records na po si Senator Lito Lapid.
Hindi na ngayon?
Yes.
Sige, sige.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Senator Mark Villar was
Senator Mark
supposed to
Villar
deliver
also.
his privilege speech, but he has opted to deliver his speech tomorrow. Mr.
Thank
Majority
you.
Leader.
Mr. President, being recognized, Senator Risa Ontiveros to explain her vote.
Senator Risa Ontiveros is recognized.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Mr. President, I vote yes to grant the President the authority to suspend excise taxes on petroleum products. Sa gitna ng patuloy na pagtaas ng presyo ng langis sa pandaigdigang merkado, kailangan natin ng agarang tugon. This measure can provide immediate short-term relief to Filipino families, commuters, and small businesses who are already struggling with rising costs. Ngunit malinaw po, hindi sapat ang pagsuspinde ng excise tax lamang. The global nature of the price shock means that any reduction at the pump may be limited and in some cases, delayed. Habang tumataas pa rin ang presyo sa world market, maaaring mabilis ding mawala ang benepisyo nito sa ating mga kababayan. Kaya naman, this measure must be complemented by a supplemental budget. Kailangan natin ng direktang tulong para sa mga sektor na pinakaapektado, ang ating mga tsuper, mananakay, magsasaka, mangingisda, at iba pang umaasa sa araw-araw na paggamit ng krudo. Direct subsidies will provide even more immediate, more targeted, and more equitable relief kaysa sa broad tax suspension na maaring hindi ramdam agad ng lahat. Kasabay nito, dapat nating bantayan ang epekto sa ating pananalapi. May kapalit ang mawawalang kita mula sa excise tax. Kung hindi tayo mag-iingat, maaaring maapektuhan ang pondo para sa mga serbisyong panlipunan, kalusugan, edukasyon, at social protection na lalong kailangan ng ating mahihirap na kababayan. Hindi dapat mangyari ng isang hakabang para tumulong ay mauwi sa pagbawas ng suporta sa pinakanangangailangan. Kaya po ako'y nagpapasalamat ng lubos sa sponsor sa pagtanggap niya ng aking amendments. Ang sentro po ng aking amyenda ay ang bigyan ng pagkakataon ng DBCC at ang Pangulo na pag-aralan kung ang kinikita sa tax sa langis sa halip na suspindihin ay mas maganda pang gamitin para sa mas malaki at mas targeted na subsidy para sa transport groups natin. Ang pakay natin ay hindi lang upang makaagapay sila sa mahal na diesel, pero para ganahan sila na damihan pa ang biyahe. Para sa mga kababayan nating gusto ring bawasan ang paggamit ng mamahaling taxi at sariling sasakyan nila. Kung kaya po bilang pangwakas, yes ang aking boto na may kasamang bilin ng pag-iingat. Yes sa agarang ginhawa, pero may panawagan para sa mas malalim at mas epektibong solusyon. Salamat po, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Ontiveros. I cannot help but, after listening to you, I cannot help but recall a colleague of mine in the Ninth Congress, Senator Leti Ramos Shahani. She always voted with a critical yes. She always voted yes, but always a critical yes.
Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Yes, also Senator Estrada would like to just insert his explanation of vote.
All right, so inserted.
And may we recognize now Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, Mr. President.
Senator Sherwin Gatchalian is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I vote yes dahil po kailangan po natin tulungan ang ating mga kababayan, lalo na dito po sa napakabilis na pagtaas po ng presyo ng petrolyo. Kanina chinecheck ko lang po sa internet yung presyo ng petrolyo at ngayon pumapalo pa rin siya ng $104 per barrel. At ilan araw na po siya nananatili doon at ang ibig sabihin yan, ang sentimento po ng buong mundo ay tingin nila dahil dito sa nangyayari sa Iran, pwedeng tumagal ang pagtaas ng presyo ng langis at yung supply at magkaroon ng issue. Kaya ito po ay itong pagsuspende ng excise tax ay napapanahon para po maibsan po yung mga nararamdaman po ng ating mga kababayan. At nagpapasalamat po ako sa ating chairperson, Senator Pia Cayetano, sa napakabilis pong pag-aksyon at pagtugon po dito sa problemang hinaharap po natin. Pero Mr. President, mga kasama, ito pang pagsuspendi ng excise tax ay hindi po madali dahil marami po tayong mga proyekto, mga programa na dapat pong pondohan. At doon po sa hearing ay sinagawa po ng komite, tinataya pong 135 billion ang pwedeng mawala sa atin kung 8 months po isususpinde. So, ganun po ang kalaking halaga ang pwedeng mawala. Kung 3 months naman, ang mawawala sa atin per month is about 16 billion. Kaya ang gobyerno po, tayo lahat ay nagsasakripisyo para po matulungan po yung ating mga kababayan, maibsan po yung kanilang nararanasan sa pagtaas po ng presyo ng langis. At dahil po lahat ay nagsasakripisyo, importante rin po yung mga oil players, kasama na ho dito yung importers, kasama na dito yung mga refiners, kasama na rin po yung mga retailers, ay makasama natin dito sa pagsasakripisyo at hindi ho sasamantalahin ang pangyayari o hindi po sasamantalahin ito pong nararanasan ho natin. Kaya po nagpapasalamat po ako sa ating chairperson, kay Senator Cayetano, Pia Cayetano, sa kanyang pagtanggap dito sa ating amendments na naglalagay ho rin ng safeguards para malaman po ng ating pamahalaan, ng ating gobyerno, kung magkano at ano po ang quantities na ini-import ng mga oil players at magkano rin po o ano yung quantities na sa kanilang inventaryo. Sa ganitong sitwasyon na napakabilis po pagtaas ng presyo, huwag ka lang magbenta ng petrolyo, kikita ka na kaagad eh. No? Iwan mo lang sa iyong tangke, kikita ka na kaagad. At yan ang ayaw natin mangyari dahil kung iniwan nila sa tangke yung kanilang petrolyo, wala tayong mabibili at lalong tataas ang presyo ng petrolyo. Kaya importante po na meron pong monitoring, may visibility, at meron rin pong disclosure ang mga oil companies, lalo na sa presyo na ibinibili nila. Mahalaga ho yan dahil kung kahit babaan natin ng 10 pesos ang gasolina, 6 pesos ang diesel, pero kung hindi naman po ilalabas yung inventaryo at hindi natin malalaman kung magkano yung inventaryo, hindi rin natin mararamdaman yung pagsuspindi ng excise tax. Ito pong amendment ay galing po sa aming tatlo, ni Senator Bam Aquino, ni Senator Joel Villanueva, at alam ko po ang ating Senate President, kabisado niya po itong issue na ito dahil sa oil deregulation law nung pinag-uusapan po ito. Kaya finally po ay naglagay ho tayo ng isang safeguards na sisiguraduhin na makakasiguro na ang mga oil companies, lahat po sa kanilang sektor ay hindi po maabuso itong sitwasyon ho natin na nararanasan natin ngayon. So maraming salamat sa ating chairperson, Senator Pia Cayetano. Congratulations at maraming salamat, Ginoong Pangulo.
Joe the Leader.
Yes, thank you. May we recognize the sponsor as well, Mr. President, Senator.
Senator Pia Cayetano is recognized.
Mr. President, I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank our colleagues for their taking their time to prioritize this measure. As an urgent measure, the Senate, as a body, took time to discuss this in small groups, in caucus. Some of our colleagues were able to attend the hearings. And we want to assure the public that we have taken time to really assess this, not just because it's a certified measure, minadali po natin. Our colleagues, in particular Senator Risa and Senator Gatchalian, took time to craft language, particularly on repertorial requirements, to ensure that the intended outcome for this bill, which is yung makatulong tayo sa kabigatan ng pagtaas ng presyo, makita naman natin na ang translation nun, makinabang talaga yung mga kababayan natin that the poorest of the poor, makarating sa kanila yung tulong na yon. The effect, Senator Ping Lacson's concerns, although he didn't make any amendments specifically, but he was very clear about the intention that makarating agad sa lalong madaling panahon sana ang effect ng pagtanggal ng excise tax. And then Senator Sherwin with in collaboration with Senator Villanueva and Senator Bam Aquino, worked to craft also that language where we will require the oil companies to provide the information so that nakikita po talaga natin na nagbabawas talaga, bumaba talaga ang presyo. Because I would like to just quickly illustrate a scenario. If the price keeps going up, and then the effect of a suspension or a reduction is done, but it is seen 30 days later, maliit lang yung makikita ng mga kababayan natin. Excuse me. So ang purpose po natin, Mr. President, is yung intended outcome natin, makita ng mga kababayan natin. And baka wala ho tayong control sa panahon that length of time for the effect to be seen. Pero at least dun sa mga reports, mapapakita po natin. Yun ho ang ating intention so that fully transparent po ang effect nung ginawa natin. Because there is a loss of revenue potentially in the amount of around 130 billion pesos, then we have to be sure that maramdaman naman ng mga kababayan natin ito. Yun lang po, Mr. President. And again, maraming salamat po to all our colleagues for the support to pass this measure for the benefit of the Filipino people. Thank you.
Jolo the Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Once again, congratulations to our sponsor, Senator Pia Cayetano, and to all our colleagues for their cooperation. I mean,
Yes.
yeah.
And hopefully, the chairperson would be able to get in touch with her counterpart so that we may be able to tackle this tomorrow. If
Yes.
they are willing to adopt our version or a paper
Yes.
bycam is possible.
Yes, the battle's not over yet, Mr. President. We have to ratify this by tomorrow. One session.
Yes, we have to ratify it, hopefully by tomorrow, so that
Yes, Mr. President.
our colleagues need not be here by Thursday or Friday.
Yes, Mr. President. Absolutely. Mr. President.
Mr. President, sorry, one more thing. Just want to thank the executive body for being present. The Secretary Garin was here, was in our hearing, so was, I'm confused because I had hearings in Energy and also in Ways and Means. So this is Ways and Means. So for Ways and Means, Sec Go and Sec Toledo.
He was here
Yes,
yesterday.
they were
also.
here. And then of course, Sec Carlo was here in the hearings and was here today. So thank you to the entire team because nagbabad din po sila dito to give support. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President, to all those that were helping helping us in this measure. Mr. President, I move that we now take up other matters. We are ready with the bill of Senator Erwin Tulfo. I move that we consider or resume consideration of Senate Bill number 1966, under Committee Report number 46, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration of 1966 is in order.
Thank you, Mr. President. The parliamentary status is we are in the period of interpolation. We recognize the sponsor, Senator Erwin Tulfo, and I believe Senator Sherwin will no longer interpolate, Mr. President. So, therefore, with that, I move to close.
Again, what is the parliamentary status?
Wala na. May nagtatanong pa daw. Sabi ng office mo, may magtatanong pa daw. I'm getting contradictory from your office. Wala na daw. Yeah, we're finished or not finished. Please pass your paper. They're not here. They will lose their chance to interpolate. It's the last 2 days. Am I correct? Secretary Leandro Mendoza is nodding his head, Mr. President. Mr. President, with that, I move to close the period of interpellation.
Any objection? Hearing none, period of interpellation is closed.
Thank you very much, Mr.
You are
President.
starting to sound like the House of Representatives. Huh?
Yes, It's a happy bill, Mr. President. This is the sinasabatas po natin ang AIX na ginagamit ng taong bayan po yan at nakakatulong. Lalo na ngayon, Mr. President. Lalo na ngayon, yan ang binibigay po natin sa mga PUV drivers and all for their assistance. So, with that, Mr. President, I move to open the period of amendments.
Amendments, period of amendments open.
Mr. President, we recognize the sponsor for individual and committee amendments.
Senator Erwin Tulfo is recognized for the period of amendments.
No amendments? So, bukas na? So, muna. So, suspend muna. Mr. President, they're not ready yet with amendments, so I move to close the period of amendments and suspend consideration of the measure.
Close.
I'm sorry.
Or suspend.
Suspend the amendments, Mr. President, and suspend the measure.
Suspend consideration.
Yeah.
All right. Any objection? Hearing none, consideration of 1966 is suspended.
Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of Senate Bill number 1981 under Committee Report number 47. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration of 1981 is in order.
This is the school voucher program, Mr. President, also very worthy measure. I move that we recognize the sponsor, Senator Bam Aquino, and I believe Senator Win Gatchalian will no longer interpolate. School vouchers. Yes, he will no longer interpolate because he realized he's a principal author of this measure, Mr. President. Mr. President, with that, I move to close the period of interpolation.
All right, consideration is in order. The motion is to suspend. I'm sorry.
To close the
the
period of
period of interpolation. Hearing no objection, period of interpolation is closed.
May we now recognize the sponsor for the committee or individual amendments, Mr. President? Be open.
The sponsor is MIA.
The sponsor, I think, is in the toilet, Mr. President. May I ask for a minute suspension, Mr. President?
Session suspended.
President, we can no longer locate the sponsor, Mr. President.
I told you, MIA.
Therefore, I move to suspend consideration of the same.
Because hearing no objection, consideration is suspended.
Si Lauren, missing in action na. Oh, si Lauren. Gusto mo? Senator, the very hardworking Senator Francis Pangilinan is asking if we have ready for additional reference of business as he wants to sponsor his measure. If there is, Mr. President, I move for the additional reference of business kung meron po. So he can sponsor the measure.
What about the, all right, we have now the third additional reference of business. You may proceed, Majority Leader. No, I'm
you,
sorry,
sir.
the Secretary.
Yes.
Please, proceed with the third additional reference of business.
Reference of business, committee report. Committee report number 51, prepared and submitted jointly by the Committees on Justice and Human Rights in Trade, Commerce and Entrepreneurship on Senate Bill number 1989 with Senators Pangilinan, Villanueva, Tulfo E, Tulfo R, and Villar M. as authors titled An Act Prohibiting the Selling and or Buying of Admission Tickets through unauthorized sales channels, providing penalties for and for other purposes, remoting approval in substitution of Senate Bill number 226, 556, 1216, 1597, and 1630 by Senator Pangilinan.
To the calendar for ordinary business.
President, I move to transfer from the calendar of ordinary business to special order Senate Bill number 1989 under Committee Report number 51. I so move, Mr. President.
I'm sorry, you're,
I move to transfer from the calendar of ordinary business to special
all right.
order Senate Bill number 1989 under Committee Report number 51.
Yes, before we take up anything else, I would like to make a correction on Senate Bill 1982. Well, this is, in fact, we could say subject to style, because we said Article 148 was read. No, it's Section 148. All right? It should be Section 148. So just for the record.
For the record.
All
Okay,
right,
Mr.
so
President.
recorded. And so you may proceed now, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we transfer from the calendar of ordinary business to special order Senate Bill number 1989 under Committee Report number 51.
Any objection? Hearing none, so transferred.
Mr. President, I move to consider Senate Bill number 1989 and ask the Secretary to read the title.
Yes, hearing no objection, we now consider 1989. The Secretary will read the title of the measure.
An act prohibiting the selling and/or buying of admission tickets through unauthorized sales channels, providing penalties for and for other purposes.
Majority Leader.
May we recognize the sponsor, Mr. President, Senator Francis Kiko Pangilinan.
The Chairman of the Committee on Justice, Senator Francis Pangilinan, is recognized to sponsor the measure.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Majority Leader, distinguished colleagues. Mahal na Pangulo, mga ginagalang nakasama sa Senado, tumatayo ako ngayon para sponsor ang Senate Bill 1989 under Committee Report number 51 na nagbabawal sa scalping sa entertainment events tulad ng mga concerts, sports tournaments at iba pa. Hindi ba't ang live music, concerts at sports tournaments ay dapat nagdadala ng saya? Hindi panic attacks sa pila ng ticket o pagkabaon sa utang dahil sa sobrang taas ng scalper prices. Taon-taon, milyong-milyong mga kababayan natin ang dumadalo sa mga ganitong events mula sa sold-out arena shows ng SB19 at BINI, sa BTS, Blackpink, NCT, hanggang sa championship games ng UAAP at marami pang iba. Malaking pera rin ang nakataya. Sa ticket pa lang, bilyong-bilyong piso na ang ibinibigay ng entertainment economy. Wala pa dyan ang merch, transpo, food, hotel accommodations na nakapalibot sa mga concert. Kaya naman pag nag-hoard ng ticket ang mga scalper at scammer at nire-resell nila ito sa pagkataas-taas na presyo, habang ang mga fans ay buong pusong sumusuporta, sila na may inaabuso, binabaluktot ang industriya at sa isang paraan, pati performers, organizers at gobyerno nadadamay. Hindi ba't nararapat lamang na ipaglaban natin ang patas at makatarungang sistema? Gusto nating baguhin ang kalakaran. Ngayon, ang Senate Bill 1989, ang ating anti-scalping proposal ay nakatuon sa kapakanan ng fans, artists, at maging gobyerno. This bill defines acts of scalping such as buying tickets without organizers' permission and reselling them for more than 10% above the original price. Ibig sabihin, walang pwedeng bumili ng ticket halimbawa ng 3,000 pesos at ibebenta ng 6,000 pesos o hanggang 15,000 pesos pa nga dahil lang malaki ang demand at marami ang willing magbayad. Hindi lamang ang mismong scalpers ang mananagot, pati ang mga nagpopondo at nagmamanage ng kanilang operasyon ay paparusahan. Dahil ang scalping ay hindi simpleng negosyo, ito'y sistematikong pananamantala. Malinaw pa rin sa panukalang batas na ipinagbabawal ang paggamit ng bots, fake accounts, multiple identities na sumisira sa purchase limits at karaniwang umuubos ng inventaryo ng ticket bago pa makaklik ng buy ang mga tunay na fans. Para sa fans, ang anti-scalping proposal ay nangangahulugang patas na laban, ticket sa opisyal na presyo, hindi sa kamay ng mapagsamantalang scalpers. Mas kaunting kaba, mas kaunting panganib, at mas maraming pagkakataon para sa tunay na ligaya. Ayon sa panukalang batas, dapat ipakita sa ticket ang tunay na halaga nito. Totoong face value at ang bentahan dumadaan lang sa mga authorized platforms. Sa ganitong paraan, mas madaling makikita ang overpricing at fake listing. Buying wise, because of the penalties, fines and imprisonment or both, also encourages safer purchasing habits. Dapat di kasama sa entertainment experience ang stress sa pakikipagbuno sa mga bots na madaling araw pa lang makita ang favorite group natin in real life at close. Pumipila ng oras-oras pagdating ng bukas ng ticket sellers, sold out na. A strong anti-scalping law is also a form of artist protection. When more tickets go directly to real fans instead of scalpers, artists see fuller, more engaged crowds, healthier direct revenue, and stronger fan bases. Pag maayos ang sistema ng pagbili ng ticket, mas enjoy lahat. For government, this is both a consumer rights and a fiscal issue. Clear rules and active enforcement by trade, justice, and law enforcement agencies mean less fraud, fewer disputes, and a more stable revenue-generating events industry. Ito ang anti-scalping law. Hindi lang tungkol sa ticket, tungkol ito sa patas na laban at sa napakasimpleng karapatang magsaya ng hindi sinasamantala. Ika nga ng SB 19, gento, hindi gancho. May gantimpala ang pagsisipag, hindi ang scalping. Sa Olivia Rodrigo concert, halimbawa, 1,500 flat ang benta ng tickets. Subalit, umaabot ng 20,000 ang binabayaran nung bago mag-concert. Kaya sa pagpasa ng batas na ito, ipinapakita natin na mahalaga ang patas na laban at may puwang ang bawat Pilipino na makasama, makapanood at makibahagi sa mga sandaling nagbubuklod-buklod sa atin bilang isang bansa. We urge our colleagues to support this measure and for its swift passage. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Also, Senator Villanueva would like to insert to the records his sponsorship speech. For the
All
record.
right, so inserted into the records.
Thank you. To allow our colleagues to study the measure, move to suspend consideration of the same. Mr. President.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, consideration of the measure suspended.
Mr. President, I move to transfer from the calendar of ordinary business to special order, Senate Bill number 1985 under Committee Report number 49.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration of, I'm sorry. 1989 is transferred to the calendar for ordinary business.
Thank you, Mr. President. I
No,
move that
for
we,
the calendar for special orders, I should say.
may we move for its consideration, Mr. President. Senate Bill number
Any objection? 1985.
1985 under Committee Report number 49.
Consideration is in order.
May we request the Secretary to read the title of the measure?
An act recognizing the right of patients to designate a healthcare agent through healthcare proxy, promoting advanced care planning, and providing for supported healthcare decision-making in the healthcare system.
Mr. President, may we
Jody.
recognize to sponsor the measure a distinguished Deputy Majority Floor Leader, no other than Senator Risa Ontiveros.
Senator Risa Ontiveros is recognized to sponsor the measure.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, every Filipino hopes that if the time comes that we are weak, sick, or unable to speak for ourselves, someone we trust will be there to speak for us. But today, for many Filipinos, that assurance does not yet exist in law. Today, I rise to sponsor a proposed measure recognizing the right of patients to designate a healthcare agent through a healthcare proxy, promoting advanced care planning, and providing for supported healthcare decision-making in our healthcare system, also known as the Healthcare Proxy Act. Lahat po tayo ay may isang simpleng dalangin kapag tayo ay may sakit. Na kung dumating ang panahon na hindi na tayo makapagpasya para sa sarili natin, may taong mapagkakatiwalaan na magdedesisyon para sa ating kalusugan at kagalingan. But in hospitals across the country, when patients lose the ability to decide, doctors and families are often left with painful uncertainty. Sino ang dapat magpasya? Ano kaya ang nais ng pasyente? Kaninong boses ang dapat sundin? Without clear legal guidance, families may disagree. Healthcare providers may hesitate, and most importantly, the wishes of the patient may never truly be known. Ito po ang problemang nais tugunan ng panukalang batas na ito, ang Healthcare Proxy Act. This bill allows every Filipino to designate a trusted person, a healthcare agent, through a healthcare proxy, who can make healthcare decisions on our behalf in the event that we become temporarily incapacitated. Sa madaling salita, binibigyan natin ang bawat Pilipino ng kapangyarihan na magpasya ngayon kung sino ang magpapasya para sa atin bukas. Because at the heart of this bill is a simple but powerful principle. Our healthcare decisions should remain ours, even if we can no longer speak and are incapacitated. Mr. President, the Healthcare Proxy Act introduces the concept of advanced care planning into our healthcare system. Ibig sabihin, may pagkakataon ng bawat isa sa atin na pag-isipan at ipahayag kung sino ang nais nating magrepresenta sa atin sa mahalagang desisyon patungkol sa ating kalusugan. Most importantly, the bill ensures that healthcare decisions are guided by the patient's known wishes, values, and preferences, or, when these are not known, by what is truly in the patient's best interest. Kasabay nito, kinikilala rin ng panukalang ito ang prinsipyo ng supported decision-making, isang pamamaraan na kumikilala sa paggalang ng karapatan, dignidad at kagustuhan ng bawat tao. This is especially important for older persons, persons with disabilities, patients with serious illnesses, and those facing end-of-life decisions. Sa ganitong paraan, pinapalakas natin ang isang healthcare system na tunay na patient-centered, nakasentro sa kagustuhan ng pasyente. Distinguished colleagues, another important feature of this bill is that it helps prevent conflict within families during the most difficult moments of our lives. Marami na po sa atin ang nakasaksi sa mga sitwasyon sa ospital kung saan nagkakaroon ng hindi pagkakaunawaan ang mga kamag-anak tungkol sa kung anong dapat gawin para sa isang mahal sa buhay. The Healthcare Proxy Act helps address this by ensuring that the person chosen by the patient is the one whose voice will guide medical and health decisions. Sa ganitong paraan, nabibigyan ng linaw ang pamilya at proteksyon ang healthcare providers na sumusunod sa desisyon ng pasyente. Mr. President, isa pang mahalagang aspeto ng panukalang ito ay ang pagiging simple at accessible nito sa karaniwang Pilipino. The healthcare proxy may be executed in any written form. Hindi na kailangan ng komplikadong proseso o mahal na legal services para lamang maitala ang kagustuhan ng isang tao. This ensures that advanced care planning is not limited to those who can afford legal services, but available to every Filipino who wishes to prepare for the future. Kasabay nito, tinitiyak ng panukalang ito na magiging bahagi ng ating healthcare system ang implementasyon ng healthcare proxy. The bill mandates the Department of Health, PhilHealth, and local governments to integrate advanced care planning into hospital policies, health information systems, and public awareness programs, while providing guidance and training to healthcare providers. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, ang panukalang ito ay para sa nakararaming Pilipino. Para ito sa mga nakatatanda na nais tiyakin na may taong mapagkakatiwalaan na magdedesisyon para sa kanila kung sila ay naging mahina o nagkasakit. Para ito sa mga pasyenteng may malubhang karamdaman na nais masigurong igagalang ang kanilang mga pinahahalagahan at kagustuhan. Para ito sa persons with disabilities na matagal nang nagsusulong ng karapatan sa supported decision-making. Para ito sa mga pamilya na nangangailangan ng malinaw na gabay sa mahihirap na sandali ng pagpapasya. Higit sa lahat, para ito sa mga nag-iisa sa buhay na malayo o wala sa pamilya at umaasa sa kanilang mapagkakatiwalaang partner, kaibigan o kakilala upang makatulong sa mahalagang desisyong pangkalusugan. At para rin ito sa ating healthcare providers na nangangailangan ng malinaw na legal framework habang ginagalang ang kagustuhan ng kanilang mga pasyente. But ultimately, this bill is for every Filipino because none of us can predict if illness or incapacity comes. At kung dumating ang panahong iyon, mahalagang may malinaw na boses na magsasabi kung ano ang nais ng pasyente. Nagpapasalamat po ako kina Senators Raffy Tulfo at Loren Legarda sa pakikiisa sa pagsusulong ng panukalang ito bilang co-authors at co-sponsors at sa mga lokal na pamahalaan na nagsilbing inspirasyon sa polisiya, gaya ng Quezon City at San Juan City na naunang nag-recognize ng right to care ng bawat isang Pilipino sa pamamagitan ng healthcare proxy. At umaasa tayong sa pagsasabatas ng ating Healthcare Proxy Act, mas dadami at yayabong ang mga probinsya at lungsod. Distinguished colleagues, the Healthcare Proxy Act reminds us that healthcare is not only about medicine, technology, or treatment. It is also about dignity, autonomy, and respect for human choice. Sa pagpasa ng panukalang batas na ito, pinagtitibay natin ang isang healthcare system na hindi lamang nagliligtas ng buhay, kundi gumagalang sa pagkatao ng bawat Pilipino. For these reasons, Mr. President, I respectfully ask for the support of this chamber in passing the Healthcare Proxy Act. Let us ensure that even in the most vulnerable moments of life, every Filipino can still be heard. Maraming salamat po.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Maraming salamat to the sponsor. And also Senator Raffy Tulfo, one of the principal authors, would like to insert his co-sponsorship speech on Senate Bill number 1985. I suppose, Mr. President. And also Senator Pia Cayetano as well.
All right, so inserted into the records.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, move to suspend consideration with all our colleagues to study the measure.
Hearing no objection, consideration of the measure is suspended.
1988 nabasa na? Diffusion siguro. Okay lang? Sana mo. Yes, Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration Senate Bill number 1894 under Committee Report number 31. So moved.
1894.
This is number 6 in the agenda. This is an act enhancing the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Act.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration is in order.
Mr. President, may we recognize the sponsor, Senator Loren Legarda, and I believe
No more Sherwin.
No more senators. Senator Risa Ontiveros would like to propound a few questions, Mr. President.
Senator Lori Legarda, the sponsor is recognized. Preventing Senator Gatchalian from standing up. And Senator Risa Ontiveros is recognized to interpolate. Ayaw patayuin eh.
Yeah, you can use this. You can use this. Risa.
Salamat po, Mr. President, and to the good sponsor for allowing me to stand up, and to the good gentleman from Valenzuela for allowing me to go ahead. Just to propound a few questions, Mr. President.
Yes, I would be happy to answer the questions, which I'm sure will only improve and enhance the measure. Thank you.
Salamat po, Mr. President. I express my full support for the Enhancing the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Bill. Our students, especially the poorest and most marginalized, need to be prioritized to ensure they have access to higher education to build a better future for themselves and their families. I'm also pleased that this committee report includes institutional reforms to ensure that students will receive their subsidies without delays. I have just a few clarificatory questions aimed at ensuring funding and a safe space for students to complain about the implementation of the law. So, una po, Madam Sponsor, Mr. President, tungkol sa funding. Sa nakaraan, binaba ng CHED ang subsidy para sa mga tertiary education subsidy mula sa 30,000 pesos kada semestre tungo sa 10 hanggang 13,500 pesos kada semestre. Alam natin na hindi ito sapat para bayaran ng tuition, transportasyon, libro at iba pa. So, paano kalang batas na ito, magkano po ang subsidya sa test bawat semestre para sa mga estudyante sa mga pampubliko o pribadong institusyon? At ano po ang inaasang budget upang mapondohan ang test sa amended version na ito ng UACTE?
Thank you very much for bringing that. I believe in 2018, the budget was 60,000. We've adjusted that to 68,000 based on the original amount of 60 in 2018, adjusted with inflation. However, the proposal now is to use the current rate of 30? 27 only, 27,000 as you mentioned. But we will propose to incentivize those enrolling in government-identified priority programs or courses. As much as we wish we could go back to the 60,000, and if you adjust it to inflation, 68,000 a year, Mr. President, hindi to mapopondohan ng buo ng DBM. So gusto ko po gumawa ng batas na realistic kaysa magandang pangako than unfunded law. So in short, the proposal uses the current rates of the test, which is down from the 60,000 of 2018 to the 27,000, but it will incentivize those enrolling in programs, courses that are prioritized by the CHED.
Salamat po, Mr. President, good sponsor. So sa 27,000 per test scholar, prioritizing yung mga mag-enroll dun sa priority courses, ano po yung kabuang inaasahang budget para sa test dito sa UACTE version natin, Mr. President?
For 2026, 12 to 15 billion. For 2027, pareho po. 2028, 24.8 to 31 billion. This is the proposed budget, no? Based on the computations.
Because sa 2028, ang dami ng 4Ps.
Oo.
And we want at least 20%
Yes.
of them.
Kasi ang gusto po natin sa projected budgetary requirement, assuming that 20%, no, of all the 4Ps graduates from senior high school are granted tests, kasi yan ang ating amendment dito, we have to allocate the 24.8 to 31B. Ayan, nako, dapat mapondohan po natin up to 31B para po masakop natin yung intention natin na yung 4Ps na senior high school graduates ay makover ng tertiary education subsidy.
Opo, Mr. President.
Thank you.
At yung pagdoble mula sa unang 2 taon na 12 to 15B sa 24 to 31B sa taong 2028 ay dahil tataas po yung subsidy or dahil dadami po yung scholars?
Dahil
Mr.
dadami.
President? Dadami
Ayan.
po.
Let's put on record the 4P senior high school.
Apo.
Kung sa 2026 ay 372,225, sa 2027, bumaba, 54,488, magiging 771,756 po ang 4P senior high school graduate sa 2028. Kaya
Okay po.
lumaki po ang allocation na a-allocate natin dahil dumami, hindi dahil lumaki ang bibigay natin ng subsidiya.
I understand that, Mr. President, para sa taong 2028. Pero dahil magiging constant yung budget sa 2027, pero sa slightly mas kaunting graduates, ibig mong sabihin posibleng tumaas ng konti ang subsidy at least sa taong 2027? O hindi rin po, Mr. President?
Target at least 20%
Ah,
of all senior high school graduates.
because,
Ngayon, ma'am, we're only at 6.6%.
oh,
So we're actually
what year is this?
2025.
Sa 2025, only 6.6% of the senior high school graduates of 4Ps are funded by TES ang nakaka-access. So, ito pong ating funding na sinabi, yung proposal, magiging 20%. So, ulit, nakakalungkot man aminin, pero kailangan sabihin na hindi po natin linalakihan, dumadami lang po ang senior high school graduates ng 4P families dahil ngayon ang pinagbabasihan natin ng 2025 ay 6.6%. Ang projected budgetary requirement natin sa new test ay 20% ng 4P graduates ng senior high school. 6.6% 2025. Pag mapasa po natin ngayon, 2026 ay 20% ng senior high school.
Triple.
Pwedeng lahat?
Opo, pero sabi niyo rin kanina, Mr.
I know,
President,
gusto ko sana nga lahat eh.
50%, pero abot tayo ng 62%.
Yun na nga eh. Kung di lang nakawin yung pondo ng gobyerno, pwede sana eh.
at sabi niyo kanina, Mr. President, 2026, yung budget ay 12 to 15 billion pesos
Yeah, di
para
kaya.
sa
Baka kayang
372,000 graduates. 2027, 12 to 15B pa rin para sa mas kaunti, 354,000 graduates. Kaya pwede bang i-consider na slightly higher yung subsidy para dun sa slightly fewer number of scholars, at least sa taong 2027,
Sa
Mr.
2027,
President?
hindi, 2027, kasi 300, there are fewer, 354. Ang tanong niya, 354, 488. Itong 2026, 372. It's still the same amount, right?
Yeah. Well, kasi may range po. Range naman yung 12 to 15.
It's
So
a,
it will land within that.
kasi hindi naman po eksakto yung numero. Ang budget ay 12 to 15B. So, the difference between the 372 and the 354, konti. So, i-compute po natin more or less yung 12 to 15B.
Okay po, I understand, Mr. President. So, posible pa lang 2026, 15B para sa 372,000 scholars at posibleng 2027, 12B lang para dun sa 354,000
Yes,
students,
Mr. President.
scholars. Okay, Mr. President. Huling tanong tungkol sa funding. For the last few years, state universities and colleges have voiced their concerns about the deficiencies in free higher education, which have led them to divert funds away from critical infrastructure and educational development. SLUCs have been forced to lessen the number of new student enrollees due to this lack of funds. For the first time in the 2026 GAA, there has been a commitment from Congress to fund free higher education deficiencies after many years, to ensure that our state and local universities and colleges have sufficient funding to operate and for more students to be given the opportunity to study. Magiging bukas kaya ang good sponsor, Mr. President, sa isang amyenda at the proper time na magsisiguro na yung mga outstanding balances and deficiencies sa ilalim ng UWACTE Act ay mapopondohan sa future na General
Yes, of
Appropriations
course.
Acts, Mr.
In fact,
President. Thank you
dahil
so
sa
much.
kagitingan ng ating Chairman of Finance, ito ay meeting with all the SUC presidents, ay na-pressure din niya at pumayag naman ng CHED na punuin yung kakulangan ng maraming taon. Kaya nga ngayon lang nangyari sa 2026 budget na na-fill up yung nakaraang taong mga kakulangan. But yes, at the proper time, I'll be happy to accept Your Honor's amendments.
Maraming salamat po, good sponsor, at mabuhay po kayo at yung ating finance chair at yung mga SUC presidents natin. And of course, ang CHED. Huling tanong na lang po para sa hapong gabing ito, Mr. President, tungkol sa isang grievance mechanism. Mula 2022 kasi po, Mr. President, tumatanggap ang aking opisina ng mga reklamo tungkol sa mga delays sa UNIFAST CHED scholarships. May ilang estudyante ang nagsabi na natatakot sila sa posibleng retaliation mula sa mga eskwelahan at mula din daw sa CHED kung magrereklamo sila. Para siguraduhin na may ligtas na espasyo sila para sa mga reklamo at issue sa implementasyon ng UACTE, bukas po ba ang sponsor sa isang amendment at the proper time para maisama ang isang grievance mechanism sa CHED at TESDA, Mr. President?
Tama po kayo. At present, there is no formal grievance committee constituted with the CHED, TESDA, or UNIFAST. Pero sa draft amendment bill by substitution, we have incorporated such a provision institutionalizing a grievance mechanism. And this establishes grievance committees at the regional level within CHED that shall investigate and resolve complaints within the prescribed periods to ensure timely action. But I would be happy to see your amendment if it can even improve the language we did with this bill, then we would be happy to do that.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. President at good sponsor. Both dun sa provision na tungkol para sa mga grievance committees at the regional level at yung kabukasan na i-consider pa rin ang amyenda ko kung makatutulong ito sa bill. So, yun lamang po, Mr. President.
Thank you very
Maraming
much.
salamat, Mr. President, sa good sponsor at muli sa gentleman mula sa Valenzuela. Thank you, Major.
Majority Leader.
Yeah, we'd like to recognize our distinguished colleague, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian.
Thank you, Mr.
Senator
President.
Sherwin Gatchalian is recognized.
Nakakahiya po kay Senator Lawrence, so I will just limit my question to just a few concepts in the bill, Mr. President. One concept here, nakikita ko po ang ating executive director ng EDCOM na nabuhayan po dahil extend yung ating EDCOM. Kala niya wala na siyang trabaho, Mr. President. So, Mr. President, there's a new concept here in Section 5A. This is equity in admissions to SUC, LUCs, and state-run TVIs. May I know from the good sponsor the objective of this new provision? This is not present in the old law. So mayroon pong introduction na bagong feature po na dinagdag dito po sa batas na ito.
Thank you for that, Mr. President. The intention of this provision is to ensure that the equity and inclusion programs are not implemented as a one-size-fits-all framework. While the overall policy direction may be guided by CHED, TESDA, and the UNIFAST board, the design of the IEPs must reflect the distinct institutional mandates, the program offerings, and the geographic context of higher education institutions. Different institutions serve different communities and operate under different constraints. For this reason, each institution will develop context-responsive EIPs that address the specific barriers faced by the disadvantaged learners within their locality. So, yes, this is an important program, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. And Mr. President, what I understand in Section 5 is the SUCs, LUCs, and state-run TVIs will come up with an equity and inclusion plan, EIP. And the EIP will contain the annual admission targets, and prescribed contextual admissions. Ano pong ibig sabihin ng contextual admissions in this provision, Mr. President?
Gaya po ng sinabi ko, iba-iba po ang kanilang mga barriers, no? Let's say, pag differently abled, if a person is blind, therefore the mechanism for admission will be used for a blind person. So this is a context-responsive EIP that will be addressing the specific issues or barriers that may be faced by the learners, disadvantaged learners.
For example po, yung mga bata in, we have yung children in conflict areas, Mr. President, how do we implement a contextual admission for those type of learners? Na, for example, yung nangyari sa Marawi and then na-displace sila, pumunta sila sa Iligan. So how will this provision apply to those learners or those students who came from conflict areas?
Yes, thank you for asking. These are the learners or the children at risk. We can provide psychosocial support for reintegration or bridging or refresher courses prior to entry, or explicit links to second chance education and possibly employment pathways. So hindi lang po sa mga kabataan in conflict areas, it could be persons with disability, indigenous peoples, learners under foster care, solo parents and their dependents, first generation tertiary education learners, and learners from GIDA or geographically disadvantaged areas. So yes, this supposedly addresses those children or youths at risk
And then,
in conflict areas.
Are we envisioning a quota for these students? Meron ba ho, let's say, if let's say the school will allocate 10% of its capacity to equity and inclusion purposes, ganun bang ating in-envision?
There is no quota, no percentage, Mr. President, or number, so the school can decide for itself and to put a cap if there's a need. Pero sa akin, hindi dapat maglagay ng cap kasi the more disadvantaged, dapat nga matulungan
And then, itong mga the EIP and the contextual admissions, will this reduce the standard of the learning institutions? I know some learning institutions, they really practice high standards by imposing higher requirements for admissions. And since meron ng ganitong equity and inclusion concept, will this reduce the standards as well as the academic requirements for admission?
Yes, I believe that there's a study by the Philippine Institute for Development Studies, and it says that once they are allowed entry, that they can actually learn and adapt to the requirements. The research by the PIDS highlighted that SUCs maintain stringent admission and retention policies. Sometimes there are significant barriers for students with limited resources, but once they're allowed, it also shows that the children can adjust given the challenges and the barriers that they faced.
The reason why I ask ang logic or the frame of mind that I have is pag maglalagay sila ng quota, the interpretation of a school is they might reduce the standard in order to fulfill those quota for equity and inclusion purposes. So it might, instead of achieving what we want to achieve, which is inclusion and equity, we're actually lowering down the standard of the school because of this mandate. That's the frame of mind that I am taking.
I understand what your point is it might lower the standard, but as I mentioned earlier, Mr. Chair, Mr. President, there is no quota to allow academic freedom, and we let the higher education institution decide for itself on the entry or acceptance of the students.
As long as it's they practice contextual admission so that it's equitable to all, no? Meaning, of course, if you are a learner with disability, the admission process might be different or will be different compared to, let's say, someone who doesn't have disability.
Yes, Mr. President.
But it doesn't mean that you're lowering down
No.
the admissions requirement.
We are not lowering the admission requirements. It's still based on the merit, except that we are just adjusting the entry, taking into consideration the disadvantage because of, let's say, the person with disability or a person in conflict area, adjusting the entry but not lowering the standard of the institution.
All right. And thank you for that clarification, good sponsor, Your Honor. And because that's a new feature that the sponsor included in the bill, and it's good that we are. I support this feature because, admittedly, that we have different types of learners across the country, experiences different types of challenges, and we need to make sure that in basic education we practice inclusion, and we need to make sure that also in tertiary education we practice that concept so that we can get in as many students as possible to enter tertiary education.
Yes, Mr. President.
And lastly, Mr. President, one of the biggest problems in the past was the misinterpretation of the prioritization of students. Ang nangyayari po, yung PNSL, yung Places with No Sooks and Looks, nabibigyan ng mas malaking pondo kumpara po doon sa mga 4Ps beneficiaries and low-income families. Na-correct lang ho yan in the last 2 years through a special provision. But as we all know, special provision should be proposed every year. So how will this bill reverse that problem through making sure that low-income families, 4Ps gets prioritized regardless where they are, no? Whether kung may nasa PNSL sila o wala, dapat yung mga mahirap muna mabigyan natin ng priority.
Yes. May I read into the record, Mr. President, the way the bill or the committee report stated it to correct that ill, if we may call it, in the way it's happening now. Students completing secondary education who come from households under the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino Program for Peace, as certified by the Department of Social Welfare and Development, shall automatically qualify as test beneficiaries upon admission in any CHED-recognized higher education institution or TESDA recognized technical vocational institution. And this would be at least 20% under
20% of the current 4Ps.
under the current 4Ps allocation. So this, I hope, will be followed so that the practice of so much grants awarded to the PNSL, which is the practice now, will not happen.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I thank the good sponsor for clarifying this, making clear that 4Ps and low-income families will be prioritized. This has been a problem for many years, and we are actually
20%
displacing poor families to get their college education. Ang nangyayari po, and this has been seen in the past, yung mga non-poor ang nabibigyan ng priority. And
Ako naman magtatanong ngayon, alam ko, usually yung sponsor hindi nagtatanong. Kaya tuwan-tuwa ako na nagtanong ang chairman ng finance. Kasi, hindi, sasabihin ko yung totoo po, Mr. President, ngayon lang siguro nangyari na yung sponsor hindi sang-ayon sa kanyang sinusponsor dahil 20% lang ng 4Ps. Kasi nagiging conservative kami dahil hindi naman ako ang chairman ng APRO o ng finance. Pero, siguradong gugustuhin ng chairman ng finance na yung 20% ng 4P families na senior high school students, kung iakyat natin, kung aamendahan nyo ng 50% man lang, it's a matter of pera na a-allocate natin. So, kasi conservative lang ginawa ko, dahil yan lang ang kaya, 3.5D. Pero kung sasabihin nyo, na popondohan po nyo at gusto, under our watch, maging 30 billion ang bibigay natin kung 50% ng senior high school, paghahanapan natin ang pondo. Nakita kong ngiti nyo at siguro pinagbuklod ng Diyos na magtanong kayo ngayong hapong ito para yung 20% ng senior high school students ng 4P families, gawin natin 50%. Alam nyo, 50B. Ano ba naman yung 50B compared sa 1 trillion flood control corruption scandal? Kung masasabi po niyo sa akin yan, I will be happy to receive your amendment at the proper time. Thank you.
Well, ako naman, good sponsor, naniniwala po ako na edukasyon lang ho talaga ang bukod tanging paraan para maiangat natin sa kahirapan ng ating mga kababayan. At college education is really proven na ho yan. Basta may college education ng bata, makakakuha ng trabaho, mataas ang kanyang sweldo, at mabibigyan ng magandang kinabukasan ng kanyang pamilya. Kaya kung kakailangan, in the best case scenario nga, good sponsor, lahat sila nag-aaral no? In a best case scenario, lahat po ng almost 1.5 million senior high school graduates papasok ng college. Pero alam naman ho natin, yung iba hindi makakapasa, yung iba magtatrabaho kaagad, yung iba po ay magte-techvoc. So kung ano po ang magiging requirement para po makapasok yung mga estudyante, susuportahan ho natin yan. Makapasok sa college, suportahan ho natin yan. Pero hindi naman ho yan nasa batas. No? It's only in the budget process. No? Budget process. It's not in the law. The ratio is not in the law.
We're not putting the percentage.
No.
We're not putting the targets. Gusto mo ilagay natin sa batas, 50%. Parang.
Actually, first time ho natin this year na naglagay ho ng budget specifically for 4P. So, hindi pa ho natin malalaman kung ilan talaga ang makakapasok. Kasi, of course, may mga admissions test lang.
Pero
May
ayon
admissions
po sa
test.
datos, kung 50% ng senior high school ng 4Ps ay kailangan mga 37B, kayang-kaya niyong hanapin.
Yeah.
Kayang-kaya niyong hanapin sa budget yan.
Kaya naman ho natin pagtulungan.
O sige.
Kaya natin pagtulungan.
I hear yes. Anyway, hindi naman natin susulat sa fine print yan. But I'd like to put it on the record so that when we do the budget, when we hear it by third quarter of this year, this conversation will be quoted so that there's a commitment at the minimum for 50% of all the 4P senior high school graduates to be covered by the tertiary education subsidy, the new law of the UACTE. You know, this conversation happened in 2016 or 17 when I was chair of finance. There was a previous cabinet member, not name anyone, who said na hindi daw posible, it wasn't possible to have a free tertiary education. I was challenged, and that's the reason I think it was Senator Ping Lacson, Senator Soto, who tried to look for the 8 billion at the time, even before the law was enacted, and we found the funds to have free tertiary education 2016 or 17 before the law was enacted.
Actually,
that was 8 billion for the Higher Education Support Fund. When we were told before then that the free tertiary education, while had good intentions, but can never be funded, I was told at the time, but we found the funds.
Yeah.
Maybe this conversation is also is due. That was 2017, so almost 9-10 years. Maybe we just say, hindi kaya yan, but we can find it in the budget. Let's look at it in the net, what they're doing with the net now, and try to skin the fat in some agencies. I would rather put it here than in some infrastructure that will probably never be built or will be substandard. And I would like to invest in the human capital. So I can see the smile of the good chairman. He will help us fund a minimum of 50% of the 4Ps?
Actually, Madam President, I was actually, Mr. President, Madam Sponsor, I was actually reviewing my notes. For 2026, we funded 200,000 new 4-piece students that will enter
372.
college, and the amount is 2.9 billion pesos, Mr. President. The original target was 40%.
Bakit 2026?
30% pala, ma'am. It's we funded 30% of the 4-piece
30?
30% of the 4-piece students who will enter college. And the reason why we didn't fund 100% is because of the admissions. No? If we fund 100%, we're saying lahat sila papasa ng admissions. But we all know that some of them will not pass the admission, some of them will transfer to TechVoc, some of them will enter the workforce. So this is actually the first time that we funded this. So after this 2026 budget, we will now know ilan ba ang nakakapasa ng admissions. Then we have a good picture of how much we will fund it in the next few years.
So if it's 30% in 2026, then
That's 200,000 new students.
372 sa akin.
And this is the total. This is the universe.
Yes. The total
Yeah, of the 4Ps.
is 372,220. Okay,
Yeah.
yes, thank you.
Yeah. So that's worth 2.9 billion ang inallocate natin this year. So, and the point there being is talagang dapat i-prioritize ho natin mga 4Ps, mga mahirap natin mga kababayan, because college diploma is their only fighting chance to get a good job and higher paying income. Kaya kailangan ho talaga mabigyan sila ng pagkakataon mag-aral sa college. Pag pumasa ho ng mas mataas, then we can add more funds this coming school year. We can raise it to your proposal of 50%. No? Dapat makita ho natin yung kanilang passing rate this coming school year.
In fact, it's not for us to cap it to 50 even.
Yes,
Lahat
correct.
ng gustong mag-aral na makapasa ay sana ma-provide natin. Ideally,
correct,
that would be
correct.
it. Yeah.
Actually, with this bill, wala nang cap eh. Kasi
Yes.
prioritize na sila kagad.
Prioritize.
Kaya ho nagkaroon ng cap because nga of the misinterpretation.
Yes.
But with this bill, there's no more cap. As long as you're 4-piece, as long as you're low income, pasok ka na
Yes,
kagad.
basta 4Ps, basta kwalipikado ka based on the requirements, at ayaw mo mag-drop out, gusto mag-aral,
Correct.
priority ka.
Yes, correct.
And
And you
ang
pass the
ganda-ganda
entrance
po
exam.
ng paano ko lang batas na
And
ito.
you pass the entrance exam,
And
of
pass
course,
the
the
entrance.
admission. So that's why this bill is very important. And I thank the good sponsor for pushing this bill. And it's about time because this problem has been a big problem for many years. And it's about time to correct this problem because it's injustice for our poor families and our 4-piece beneficiaries not to be prioritized with subsidies being given by government. So maraming salamat po, good sponsor.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad that the good chairman of finance interpolated at this late hour because we did not peg our budget to 20% and instead increased to 50 and instead even said that maski sino mag-graduate na gustong mag-aral, hahanapan natin ng pondo.
Yes, definitely.
I'm with
Mr.
you
President.
in that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
So can we just welcome the amendment of Senator?
There being no other member wishes to interpolate the measure, I move to suspend, to close the period of interpolation, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, consider period of deliberations closed.
We'd like to ask the good sponsor if she's ready for amendments, Mr. President.
You ready with the amendments, Your Honor?
Do you have it now? We have the draft now. For tomorrow, para sure. Hindi, yung kay Risa. Yeah.
More na lang.
Senator
Yeah, they're
Risa,
ready. They'll be ready by tomorrow, Mr. President. With that,
Latest tomorrow.
we
Okay.
suspend consideration of the measure.
All right.
Senator
Hearing no
Risa,
objection,
kayo baka dito.
consideration of the measure suspended.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to the sponsor. One more day and we'll approve the measure. Mr. President, I move that we transfer from the calendar of ordinary business to special orders, Senate Bill number 1988. So moved.
Any objection? Hearing none, 1988's consideration is in order.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we consider Senate Bill number 1988 and ask Secretary to read the title of the measure.
Consideration is in order. Secretary will read the title of the measure.
An act mandating accessibility, inclusivity, and all tourism sites for persons with disabilities and senior citizens, appropriating funds for and for other purposes.
May we recognize, Mr. President, Senator J.V. Arcito, our Deputy Majority Floor Leader, to sponsor the measure.
The Deputy Majority Leader, Senator J.B. Arcito, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, Mr. President, colleagues in this august chamber. It is with honor and privilege to sponsor Senate Bill number 1988 under Committee Report number 50 or the Barrier-Free and Inclusive Tourism Act. Mr. President, wala po siguro tututol sa akin kung sasabihin ko nakakaibang ang angking ganda ng Pilipinas. As a rider and dedicated advocate of motorcycle tourism, I have had the opportunity to witness firsthand the diverse natural wonders and tourist destinations across our archipelago. I also make it a point to document and promote these sites through various platforms with the aim of sharing to our fellow Filipinos the experience and to appreciate the diverse and breathtaking landscapes of our country. Yet the experience is truly incomparable when one visits the destination in person. Iba pa rin po ang pakiramdam na makita ang mga tanawin ng personal, matikman ang mga lokal na pagkain, makabili ng pasalubong at makilala ang iba't ibang kultura. These experiences create lasting memories that no photograph, video, or postcard can never fully capture. Kaya naman po, Mr. President, madalas po akong napapaisip, paano naman ang ating persons with disabilities o PWDs at senior citizens? Traveling and visiting tourist destinations is extra challenging for them. Kung dito pa lamang po sa Maynila ay kapansin-pansin na ang kakulangan sa mga pasilidad at transportasyong may sapat na accessibility, paano pa kaya sa malalawigan kung saan nila gusto pumunta at bumisita sa ating mga tourist spots? Bukod po sa mga suliranin sa transportasyon, nananatili pa rin ang kakulangan ng makinakailang accessibility features sa maraming tourism destinations. Mga pasilidad na sanay mapapagaan at mapapadali ng kanilang travel experience. Due to these challenges, traveling becomes more exhausting rather than relaxing. Kaya naman po, sinusulong natin ang panukalang batas na ito. This is to overcome physical barriers and to make tourism in the Philippines more accessible, hassle-free, and most importantly, inclusive. Mr. President, this measure sets forth barrier-free and accessibility standards, requiring all tourism sites to provide core accessibility features such as ramps, handrails, and barrier-free walkways, alongside accessible toilets, shaded rest areas, and pier signages. It also guarantees that there will be no more misrepresentation or discrimination within these areas as guided by proper awareness programs and training activities. Beyond physical infrastructure, this bill seeks to foster a truly inclusive tourism environment. The committee recommends that these accessibility standards become a mandatory prerequisite for the licensing and accreditation of all new tourism sites. Existing establishments shall be granted a 1-year grace period to achieve full compliance. Furthermore, para po mas mapagtibay natin ang compliance ng tourist sites, a recognition system shall be established by the Department of Tourism to feature compliant tourism sites in the promotion, marketing efforts, and travel guides of the department. Magkakaroon din po ng certification program kung saan mabibigyan ng recognition at eligibility ang compliant tourism sites ng priority promotion sa official tourism campaigns, assistance at iba pang tourism-centered programs ng departamento. This legislation further highlights the functions of government agencies in implementing the measure in full coordination, as well as its partnership with the private sector and other stakeholders in the development of the Accessible Tourism Development Plan. Mr. President, with the National Tourism Development Plan as our vision, may we also strive for an inclusive tourism industry. We all have the right to travel, we all have the freedom of movement, ngunit sa kasalukuyan, hindi pa nakapagbibigay ng pantay na access ang lahat ng ating tourism destinations. Our persons with disabilities and senior citizens also deserve leisure. Hindi lamang dapat limitado ang kanilang buhay sa loob ng bahay o sa nakasanayan nilang environment. There is so much more to life, so much more to this country that we can share with them. Let me just bar the statement shared by one of our resource persons from the Tahanang Walang Hagdanan, Incorporated, to build a nation where accessibility opens opportunities, safety protects dignity, and inclusion strengthens communities. With that, Mr. President, I recognize that this bill is a step toward this goal, isang turismo na para sa lahat. As the sponsor of this measure, I look forward to the support of my colleagues here at the Senate as you deliver the steps toward a holistic and inclusive nation. Thank you, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, also, Senators Jingo Estrada and Senator Robin Hood Padilla would like to also insert their co-sponsorship speech on this topic, Mr. President.
So inserted into the records.
Thank you, Mr. President. Some housekeeping matters. I move that we proceed with the Senate President's designation of Senate conferees to the Conference Committee on the Disagreeing Provisions on Senate Bill number 1982 and House Bill number 8418. These bills are authorizing the President to suspend and reduce excise tax on petroleum products. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, the following members are designated as Senate conferees to the Conference Committee on the Disagreeing Provisions, Senate Bill 1982 and House Bill 8418. Senator Pia Cayetano as chairperson, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, and on the part of the minority, Senator Joel Villanueva.
Thank you, Mr.
So
President.
ordered.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that the Senate President designate the Senate conferees of the Conference Committee on Disagreeing Provisions of Senate Bill number 1899 and the House Bill number 5939. These are bills on the, pedagogical approach in the basic education.
Pedagogical.
Yes, Mr. President, that's it. Pedagogical.
Yeah. Well, if there's no objection, the following are designated as conferees on the Disagreeing Provisions of Senate Bill 1899 and House Bill 5939. Senator Bam Aquino as chairperson, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian as member, and on the part of the minority, Senator Joel Villanueva. So designated.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President,
There is a fourth additional reference of business. Would
yes,
you like to take that, or
let's proceed to that, Mr. President. Fourth
the
additional
Secretary will
reference.
proceed with the fourth additional reference of business?
Committee reports. Committee report number 52, prepared and submitted jointly with the Committees on Agriculture, Food and Agrarian Reform, Cooperatives, Ways and Means, and Finance on Senate Bill number 1990 with Senators Ontiveros and Pangilinan as authors thereof titled Anak Ensuring the Development, Promotion, and Protection of Agricultural and Fisheries Cooperatives, providing for the creation of the Bureau of Agriculture and Fisheries Cooperatives, and appointing funds therefore, recommending approval in substitution of Senate Bill number 389 and 1183 by Senator Pangilinan.
To the calendar of ordinary business.
Committee report number 53, prepared and submitted jointly by the Committees on Agriculture, Food and Agrarian Reform, and Finance on Senate Bill number 1991, with Senator Pangilinan as author thereof titled Anak Strengthening National Agriculture and Fisheries Extension System to accelerate agriculture and fisheries development, creating the Bureau of Agricultural Extension and appropriating funds therefore, recommending approval in institution of Senate Bill number 1182 by Senator Pangilinan.
To the calendar for ordinary business. Joel, the leader.
Mr. President, our distinguished colleague, Senator Lauren Legarda, who came today in such nice attire. I like her attire because it's the safari look, Mr. President, the safari look. She wishes to, she's hunting for something, Mr. President. So, President, she wishes to avail of the privilege hour, Mr. President. Since tomorrow is our last day, best that we pursue it tonight, Mr. President, with the permission of the rest of us that are here today.
All right.
May we
Senator
recognize-
Lauren Legarda is recognized.
I just noticed, Mr. President, whenever I'm around, the majority leader is always happy. Yes, yes. No, I'm just happy to be back after a sick leave. Yes, this was a speech I wanted to deliver last week, but it's still as timely now. I rise on a matter of personal and collective privilege. Taxes are indeed the lifeblood of the state. Hindi mapapatakbo ang isang bansa kung walang buwis na kinokolekta mula sa mga mamamayan. Ngunit kung ang buwis ay halos sinasaid na ang bulsa ng mga ordinaryong Pilipino, hindi na lifeblood ang tawag dito, dagdag pagdurusa na. Sa panahon ngayon kung saan patuloy na tumataas ang mga pangunahing bilihin, kailangan ng muling suriin ang ating mga tax system upang mapagaan ang pasanin ng mga Pilipino sa kanilang pang-araw-araw na gastusin. Sinusulong ko ngayon ang 3 panukalang batas na nagpapakilala ng reforma sa pagkolekta ng buwis. Una, ang Senate Bill 1851, yung Differentiated VAT Rates Act. 2 dekada na mula nang tinaas ang value-added tax o VAT mula 10% hanggang 12%. Pilipinas pa rin ang may pinakamataas na VAT sa Southeast Asia. Pero hindi naman tayo ang may pinakamataas na sweldo o pinakamurang bilihin. Nung nakaraang buwan, pumalo sa 2.4% ang inflation rate. Isang nagtulak sa pagtaas nito ay ang 1.8% na inflation rate sa pagkain at sa non-alcoholic beverages. Sa panukalang batas na ito, gagawing mas makatarungang ang VAT system sa pag-adjust ng rates depende sa klase ng produkto o serbisyo. Taliwas sa prinsipyo ng pataas na pagbubuwis ang pagpataw ng parehong VAT sa karaniwang konsumo ng taong bayan at sa mga produktong pangluho o bisyo. Pinapanatili ng Senate Bill 1851 ang 12% na VAT sa luxury goods at bisyo, gaya ng mamahaling sasakyan, real estate properties, sigarilyo, vape at alak. Hindi dapat isubsidize ng minimum wage earner ang lifestyle ng may kaya. Halimbawa, kung magpapa-basic preventive maintenance service ng sasakyan, ito ay tinatayang nasa 5,000 hanggang 7,000 pesos. Kung maipapasa ang panukalang batas na ito, mababa ang labor charge sa 4,910 pesos hanggang 6,875 pesos. Kung bibili naman ng kutsyon na sa ngayon ay nasa 3,000 pesos, mabibili na lamang ito sa halagang 2,946 pesos. Pero ang isang luxury bag ng iba ay nangangahalaga ng 350,000 pesos, ay mananatiling 12% ang VAT sa ilalim ng panukalang ito. Nais ng Senate Bill 1851 na gawing 10% ang VAT sa mga produkto at serbisyo na hindi lamang para sa mga mahihirap, kundi pa rin sa ating middle class na Pilipinong madalas ay nakakaligtaan sa ating mga polisiya. Nakahain rin ang Senate Bill 1857, yung Murang Bilihin at Serbisyong Medical Act, na nakatuon naman sa pagtanggal ng VAT sa mga pangunahing bilihin, gamot at serbisyo. Bilang principal author ng Universally Accessible, Cheaper, and Quality Medicines Act of 2008, matagal ko na pong sinusulong ang murang gamot at accessible healthcare. Sa ilalim ng 1857, hindi na magabayad ng VAT ang bawat Pilipino sa pagbili ng over-the-counter medicines at mga first aid supplies. Kalimitan, kibit-balikat na lamang ang mga kababayan natin sa mga sakit tulad ng lagnat, sipon at trangkaso. Dinadaan na lamang sa pag-inom ng tubig dahil ayaw gumastos sa gamot at konsulta sa doktor. Mahalang gamot at pa-check up. Ipangkain na lang ang perang gagastusin dito. Nakakalungkot isipin na kailangang pumili sa pagitan ng pagkain at gamot. Gayong pareho itong pangunahing pangangailangan na dapat ay kundi man libre ay mura. Kaya naman, nararapat lamang na wakasan ang pagpataw ng buwis sa mga basic commodities para sa ating mga kababayan. Ang 50 pesos na banig ng paracetamol ay magiging 45 pesos na lamang. Ang benda na nasa 60 pesos na halaga, ang halaga ay magiging 54 pesos na lamang. Maaring sa iba, ito ay parang maliit na halaga, ngunit para sa mga kapuspalad, ito ang pagitan ng pagkakaroon ng lunas at pagtitiis sa sakit. Dagdag pa rito, wala na ring sisingilin na VAT sa ating mga kababayan na nais magpagamot at magkonsulta dahil exempted din ang professional services, ito man ay medical o dental. Ilan pa sa mga tatanggalan ng VAT ay delata, mantika, instant noodles at sabon. Ito ang mga bagay na dapat ay abot kaya ng ating mamamayan. Halimbawa, ang isang kahon ng instant noodles ay magiging 670 pesos na lamang mula sa 750 pesos. Isang litrong mantika na nagkakahalaga ng 120 pesos ay magiging 107 pesos na lang. Matagal na ring umaaray ang mga consumer sa mahal na singil ng kuryente. Dahil dito, nais din nating tanggalan ng VAT yung systems loss, yung lifeline rate subsidy, at mga electric charges sa Senate Bill 1963. Hinahain natin ito dahil hindi naman talaga dapat buwisan ang charges na ito. Isang halimbawa na lamang ay yung lifeline rate subsidy program. Ang pondong ito ay sinisingil sa mga mamamayang hindi sakop sa programa. Kumbaga, nagbabayad ang nakararami upang suportahan ang mga pinakamahirap. Maganda yung adikain, ngunit mali na tumulong ka na, nabubuwisan ka pa. All of these bills were filed under normal circumstances in our country because I believe that these reductions and exemptions have been long overdue. Mr. President, ang isang minimum wage worker ay nagabayad ng buwis araw-araw. May VAT sa halos lahat ng kanyang binibili. Buwan-buwan, lumiliit ang sweldong dapat sana ay buo niyang maiuwi sa kanyang pamilya. Tanggapin na natin na ang kasalukuyang tax system ay regressive. Mas malaking proporsyon ang kinukuha nito sa mahihirap kaysa sa mayayaman. Tayo mga nandito sa bulwagang ito ay dapat talakayin ng masinsinan ang usaping comprehensive tax reform, hindi bilang isang sukatan ng kita, kundi batayan ng equity sa ating lipunan. Ang pagtanggal ng VAT sa ating basic necessities tulad ng pagkain, gamot, at pangunahing kagamitan, gayon na rin ang professional medical service ay dapat palakasin at implementa ng mabuti. Hindi dapat ito ginagawan o hahanapan ng butas sa pagpapatupad. Malaki man ang mawawalang kita sa pamahalaan, tulad na rin ng pinakita ng DOF sa mga hearing, ako po'y naniniwalang panahon na para ipasa ang mga panukalang reforma sa tax na ito. At kung i-curb at bawasan ang katiwalian at systems loss at ang incompetence at inefficiency at mga luho sa gobyerno, hindi po ganong kalaki ang mawawala. At dahil ang pondong ibibigay sa mahihirap at sa middle class ay babalik naman sa local economy. Mahirap pong makatulog sa gabi sa kakaisip na habang ang mga mamamayan ay nagkakandakuba, nagkakasakit, nawawalay sa pamilya para lang kumita ng pera sa ibang bansa. Dumadagdag pa sa sakit ang mataas na presyong dulot ng buwis. Sa bawat krisis, sila ang unang sumasalo ng epekto, sila rin ang huling nakakabangon. Hindi ba hoy makatarungan na nagpapataw tayo ng patong-patong na buwis pero hindi naman ito yung nagagamit ng maayos ang pondo. Ang halagang mawawala sa mga tax cuts na ito ay mas mababa pa sa kabuuang nalilimas ng katiwalian tulad na lang sa mga anomalyang nakikita natin at dinidiskusyon dito sa plenaryo na umabot na sa trilyong piso. ito ay ating pong solusyonan. Panahon na para tanggalin sa mga Pilipino ang pasaning ito at harapin ng pamahalaan ang pagsasaayos ng sarili nitong paggastos at integridad. Tayo ay linuklok na mga may obligasyong magbigay ng serbisyo publiko. Ang pribilehiyong pinagkakaloob sa atin ng mga Pilipino ay higit pa sa isang tungkulin. Ang ating posisyon ay may mas malalim na kahulugan. Ito ay magsisilbing tulay para sa mabuti at totoong pagbabago para sa bawat Pilipino. Bago po ako magtapos, babanggitin ko lang po yung mga ini-implement na ng BIR sa nakaraang 2 taon, yung pagbawas ng VAT sa mga hindi dapat kinokolekta sa 2 dekada. In short, ginagawa na po, pero kailangan lang natin institutionalize into a law. Ito po yung mga subsidiya na hindi naman dapat linalagyan ng VAT sa ating kuryente. To my dear colleagues in the Senate, I am seeking your full support for the passage and the enactment in due time of these tax reform bills. Huwag na nating hintayin maubos ang pasensya ng taong bayan na matagal nang kinakapos ang bulsa. Ang tanging hinihingi ng taong bayan ay ginhawang ramdam, pagbabago ng presyong nakikita sa resibo at patakarang may pakinabang sa hapagkainan, hindi lang sa macroeconomic report. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Senator Legarda, Majority Leader.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We'd like to move that the speech of the lady senator be referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there objection? There being none, motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, did they do the Gita schools na? Baikam, wala pa. So, yes, Mr. President, I move that we ask the Senate President to designate the Senate Conference of the Conference Committee on the Disagreeing Provisions of Senate Bill number 1937 and House Bill number 4745. These are the bills on the geographically isolated and disadvantaged schools. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there objection? Hearing none, the following are designated conferees on the disagreeing provisions on Senate Bill number 1937 and House Bill number 4745. Senator Bam Aquino as chairperson, Senator Wing Gatchalian for the majority, and on the part of the minority, Senator Joel Villana. So designated.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, just 2 other matters. Senator Estrada would like to be made co-author of Senate Bill number 1988, for the record, and Senator Camille Villar requests to co-sponsor Senate Bill number 1988 and their speech be inserted into the records, Mr. President.
There's no objection. We take note of the insertions and the co-authors.
Senator Gatchalian may want to do something else. Senator Gatchalian, you still want to work? Oh, okay. I thought he still wanted to stay and work. We would just like to say that the seatmates are complete tonight, Mr. President. Before that, just to say that, and I move now to adjourn session until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Wednesday, March 18, 2026. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there objection? There being none, the session is adjourned until 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesday, March 18, 2026.